Okay, good evening all, and welcome to TFC Live. It's Season 2, Episode 25. It is the June post-raid roundup and the 6-month BP show review of 2017. Evening admins, how are we?
Doing well, thanks.
Good. I know George is there. He's going to put some fries in because he's cooking at the moment as well. So he's multitasking, which is not bad for a chap because normally we're pretty rubbish at it. Welcome all those in chat. Thanks for tuning in. And I'll start off, I think, tonight before we even get into the show to say that I think tonight's show may run over. Okay. I do not apologize because actually there's a lot of content and we want to get it all in and we just want some feedback as well. So we've had some feedback off the Facebook page. We've sort of collated some stats together and that sort of stuff, which and there's a series of questions that have come in and a series of issues that you have raised as a community. So we'll be taking you through that a bit later on. So anyway, tonight's slides are done by Andrew. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, Andrew's in tonight. We will have other people later on, hopefully. Ren at the moment is in the town hall, and he should be in later on and be able to give us any hints on anything that's allowable to be released and that sort of stuff. Clearly they'll be reviewing, obviously, the raid and that sort of stuff, and I'm probably talking about future tents. We know some of the things that are coming up because it's already been discussed on the last time GDA was on. But there may be some updates about that as well. So we'll see how it goes. Just one hot one before we start the slides then. Laredo's in chat and he's already mentioned that some ships, I don't know which one it is, but some of them, the retargeting rings may not be showing at the moment. Whether that's in the FM or just in some of the TLCs, I'm not 100% sure. But just be cautious of that because it's being worked on at the moment. Anyway, Andrew's good. Let's lock on to him and then we'll make a start, shall we? Okay, so here we are then. It's obviously clearly there's a title slide there, TFC Season 2, Episode 25, as I said then. So it is today, admins will giggle, it is the 22nd of June. Okay, then. And like I said then, it's the post-raid roundup and the 6-month reflection. Next slide.
I thought it was tomorrow. It's today already?
It is today already. It is. It's the start of the weekend. If you're young, this is the start of the weekend. Because you can just grizz tomorrow. Anyway, right. Okay, so quite a lot in this release, as I said. Yeah, we'll do a bit of post-raid roundup and that sort of stuff. And we've got a few slides on this time as well, which is good. Yeah, we'll look at the Forsaken mission updates. Controversial, some of it, or maybe not. I don't know. VXP weekend. That's come around quick already. Okay, the Implements of War, which is a new TLC, which we'll have a look at as well, which I think's going to help out the middle level players, to be honest. Plunder's back, obviously the Hyperion one's back as well. Then there's Call to Arms 2, a couple of bug fixes and tuning, and then we will go through that player feedback section as well. And by that time, hopefully, Ren will be back in, and he'll be able to pause things and then have a little chat. So, should we go on one? Oh, that's very colourful, isn't it? Okay, so it's a splash screen, that's all it is. Okay, it's basically hinting that there was an awful lot. Would we agree there was an awful lot this time?
Yep.
Heck of a lot, isn't it? Okay, so let's jump forward to the first slide then. Let's have a look. So basically, Robin's done a bit of an overview. So, Robin, do you want to take like 3 or 4 slides?
Yeah, just to recap on some of the stuff, we started this with the last raid and we're going to continue doing this where we take a look at some of the key things of the raid. But just before we do that, I want to barge in and I just have to say a big fat thank you to Andrew, and I'm thankful that you are on the show. Props for the work on the raid page, for the raid help page, props for getting the videos out there quickly, and a big thank you to all of the players that popped those videos on our pinned thread, which allowed us to get them out on the page in a timely manner. So Andrew, thank you, and thank you to the players as well. So jumping into the raid, looking at the targets, we still had the ability to look at multiple strategies and fleet types. People were still able to use some of their smaller fleets. I had in my sector a bunch of people running around with all sorts of flavors of fleets, hitting little targets, going in and hitting pieces of targets, so on and so forth. So I think that was a really good positive thing again this raid. The spawn rates, again, I saw no issues with any of the spawn rates except for the end, which we'll talk about in a second, but targets were freely available. I didn't hear anybody complaining about missing targets or anything like that. So they did a really good job on that. And the really good part was the no second S target. That was one of the concerns that we had last raid was, hockey smokes, these were taking us, 7 or 8 minutes. And, do we really want to stick another one on top of this? And then with all the points and everything that we were expected to get, it's like, I want to play the game. I don't want to have to commit my life to it for 6 days. And so kudos to Kix for keeping that second target out of play and allowing us to just go ahead and do that single target and with the points ratio. So we can move on to the next slide. Couple of things that didn't go so well. One of them being the changes to the redemptions and target damage. There was, obviously everybody's aware of it, they opened up the window for 24 hours where you were able to go ahead and claim the Phoenix without getting the Justice, which was nice. There were some people that were a little bit concerned because it crossed over work days and things like that, but the ability to go ahead and claim that was really nice. What kind of caused some angst was that there was no real clarity that when that window closed that you would not be able to go ahead and claim the special. And so there were people that went ahead and claimed the Phoenix and then later on figured they'd just grind out the special on the weapon and then run into a brick wall, because once that window closed, even though technically they had the Phoenix, they were now caught under that locked behind the Justice wall. So I think if nothing else, liked the idea. If nothing else, it would be nice that if Kix puts that information out there, if they can just very clearly state that during this window you can do this, this, and this, and then once the window closes, you're going to be back to these types of rules.
Yeah, can we just pause on that a second? That did cause a lot of angst on the page, I must admit, and a lot of confusion. And I'm not disrespecting anybody at all, but with sometimes the way that some things are written, maybe the person's thinking in their head and they're just typing it, but actually they ought to get somebody else to proofread it, because it did cause a lot of confusion and an awful lot of arguments and an awful lot of timeouts and that sort of stuff, and we were only repeating what was said, but we did do a bit of a explanatory sort of like a few pictures and that sort of stuff, and reiterate that the flow had gone back to its original sort of like cycle, and people, even though they got as you said, got that hole, it didn't automatically mean they could just jump straight back in. But it was definitely a little bit I don't know. I still can't make up my mind whether it was a good thing to do or not a good thing to do, or once it's been done it should, or basically I don't know, people were struggling, maybe just actually did it for the middle 24 hours or something. I don't know. So those that could rush forward and do it just did it, and those that couldn't rush forward and do it had the opportunity to do it. And it actually would have been like sort of, I don't know, Friday nights or Saturday night or something like that would have been better maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah, no disagreements there, and I liked the opportunity to do it. I thought that was a great idea, and I agree if they could do it maybe a little bit later, because there were people, like you folks that are a little bit ahead of us that, maybe were able to catch a little bit of the weekend time with it or Friday morning with it. But the folks that, work full-time jobs, were not able to take advantage of it. But agreed that, yes, if they could, if they make it such that you can only claim the hull and then the other pieces are locked behind, that's fine. Just make sure that it's clearly explained in the release notes so that there is no confusion with people. So that was for the clarity on that one. The other piece that we had was where they reduced the damage on specific targets for a certain period of time. I think that was a good idea. There were some people that were saying they did not see any damage change, but I did see other people that say they were seeing damage change. So that was over the weekend. So there were a lot of people that were able to grind targets. There were a lot of people that were able to get more points, I think, than they normally would have been able to had that not been in place. And so good job, Kix. Kudos for that. It was allowed people to go ahead and fill in points, and that was something that I noticed this time a lot more than last raids. We've talked about how people were able to go out and take pieces and parts of targets, and we expect that by the third raid cycle, people are kind of getting their fleet sorted and everything else. But I can't speak for other sectors, but in my sector, it was very refreshing to see people out there grinding and, not just kind of giving up and quitting and saying, bugger this and nicking off, or, oh my God, I can't do anything. Can somebody please prep targets for me? So I thought that was a good thing to see with this change on the 84s and with some of the other stuff, that there were people able to go out and actually do something for a change. So again, that's just my sector, but I'm not sure if you guys saw the same thing.
Yeah, I did, definitely, without a doubt. I must admit there was a lot more people out there, and do you know? I think it was just the fact that I think they'd sorted out their FM fleets, and obviously, B sets were not too bad. In fact, I know many people who were just using a simple Zealous, and obviously the with the Empyreans and Citadels as well. To be honest, Citadels were managing to do the B sets no problem at all. I even had to go myself just for a bit of fun. So they were doing it, and actually the prize payback, I think, the points payback, sorry, was quite decent.
Yep.
I was quite pleased with the points, actually, for the amount of, because people are just used to driving now and that sort of stuff. So
the points payout was great, but holy crap, how many points did you need?
Yeah.
Well, to get everything, yes, I have to agree. To get this, that's a different question. I think we'll leave that to the latter half of the show, because hopefully Ren will be back in for that, and I know he wants to discuss it as well. But I do think there's two things. Power creep is one, and that's that's build time creep is one. But definitely the other one I'm thinking about was the fact that, and I still think it's this American thing, 1 million points where one would do. I just don't get it. I really don't understand it. Yes, the target's worth more points, but actually the sum that you've got to achieve is also creeping up as well. So it's a chicken and egg. I'm not really sure what's if it's necessary, to be honest. Why make a target worth 10 million points when it could just be worth 10 points, and it's just like 1 point per thing, and you've just got to go and hit it 10 times. Why does it have to be millions and millions? I don't know. Odd. I find it bizarre. But anyway, that's a little thing. But I think charged armor at 12. Yes, I know. Yeah, the top prize, there was only one S, and it was worth up to 6 million. That sort of stuff. But it still meant that with the locking and the unlocking, that sort of stuff, if you weren't, like as you were saying, to get ahead, then it did cause you a bit of an angst, I think. So if you were just starting at the weekend when your weekend started properly, then you were still then on a huge grind to get ahead and do everything you needed.
Yeah, and it would be interesting. I know that Kix isn't going to share that with us, and not that I would expect it to, but it would have been interesting to see how much more participation there was on the Thursday night because of that. And then maybe, if they're looking at that number and say, okay, well, if it was this good on Thursday night, how good would it be, if we pop that to Friday night over through Saturday? So, that would be something for them to take a look at.
I can guarantee they've got those stats.
Oh, yeah, I know they do. I'm just saying I don't think they'll share them.
Yeah. We'll see. Anyway,
Okay.
carry on. Sorry, go on. Yeah.
So if we could move on to the next slide, Andrew.
If he's not fell asleep. Oh, he's still there.
Okay, looking at the prizes again, we had a lot of good tokens. I'm not sure if anybody else did what I did, but I went out there and spent tokens on my. Got some Zealous tokens and refit my Zealous, and then there were some folks that did the same. There were a lot of other good token prizes that people were able to go ahead and fix things, change things on the fly. So that was nice. I noticed we did kind of drop the build tokens, I think, by one. So we had a little bit less with the regular build tokens. There were some redemption issues. I brought this up on last week's show, and I know personally it affected me on one thing, and I know of a couple of other people that had been affected as well, where people were going and spending the points on like the Phoenix, and this was the one poor guy that I was talking about. He redeemed the Phoenix, didn't have the points, showed them that he showed them the fact that he had the points, showed them that he had actually got the specials and the weapon for the said Phoenix, and had all of that screenshot, and Kix was basically saying, well, if you don't have a screenshot, we can't prove that you have the points. So that was kind of annoying. And And again, that goes back to, and I'm not going to go over on that rant, but it's something that we've talked about many times. It goes back to, we should not have to record everything that we're doing. And if somebody can prove that they've got the special and the weapon that was actually tied behind the hull in the first place, then, it should have been awarded. And so, again, as much as I hate saying it and as much as I hate doing it myself, I would just say that for every raid, before you redeem something, take a before and after shot. I know there were a couple of people on the page that redeemed ships and hulls that did not get them, and there was mixed responses as to whether they were reissued or not. So that's a thing that I think Kix needs to work on. Even they may not be able to ascertain why, whether it's somebody's connection or something else, but if someone's got the logical proof, then let's go ahead and award that and not make them go out and get another 60 million points.
Yeah, I must admit, I've never known a game ever in the history of, well, since I've been playing in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, where you've had to go and take pictures of things. I've never known anything like it. But it's a Facebook game primarily. Yes, they got their own site, but ultimately people then cotton on to something, and then because it's on Facebook, people jump on the bandwagon. They go, "Oh no, I didn't get that either." So there is there is an honesty issue, and when it can save you 60 million points, without a doubt, a percentage of people will do that. Well, I could take a shortcut here, take a chance, and if they give it to me, they give it to me, sort of stuff,
Yeah, no, and I agree with that. But when you've got the other two pieces that you technically can't get through the game without the hull in the first place, that's kind of pretty obvious that, okay, they were able to get that. So, but anyway, so yeah, hopefully we can work on that for the next raid. And in the selection of prizes, there was, I thought, a really good selection of prizes. And George mentioned this on Tuesday, and I went out and kind of stood on the street corner and said, okay, who doesn't have the mono? And so spent a bunch of time prepping some targets for some lower guys. The price of the target points and the price of the prizes I thought was really good, where you could essentially for 12 million get somebody the mono, the OU mortar, the high velocity rounds, and the garrison battery, which if you were prepping 100s was 4 S targets. And so even if you didn't go all the way and you just did 1 S target, or somebody ground them out for 3 million points, they could get the mono, which will really help them on their weekly FM targets. And so I thought that was a really good thing on Kix's behalf, just kind of like what they did with the Ironclad for the last raid set, where we allowed people and the price was reduced and people were able to take advantage of that. Outside of the mono, I thought there was a really good selection of prizes. I'm still kind of a little narked about the price on the old charged armors, and I don't understand the disparity between the two. Why is one 9 and one 7,500,000? So I think that. Yeah, I think that if they drop those down a little bit further, I think that would have been a lot nicer, because there were people that were trying to get it and were kind of struggling because they were only able to go ahead and get one. So there was a lot of base things, there was a lot of tokens, there was a lot of, I was really happy to see the hydraulic resistors back in there. So that was good. There was a couple of other things in there. There were a lot of people that were able to go ahead and play catch up. And then if you were caught up and you did do the, oh my gosh, grind last raid set, I found there was a lot less stuff that people needed to get this time. And we talked about this at the last raid, that hokey smokes, this big list, everybody had to go out there and get a gazillion points. And so what that did for me personally was, by getting everything that I was missing last time, I was under a lot less pressure this time.
Okay, I have questions now that the mic is working. The guy that
damn, he fixed it. I
fixed it. I did. The guy that couldn't get his Phoenix, did he not have a screenshot of his overall points? Like that?
He did not have the screenshot of his overall points, but what he did have was the screenshot showing that he had the weapon and the special that he had already redeemed, and that was.
But there were people saying that you could get that once when the gate went down, you could get either any of the three. I'm kind of curious why he didn't go to the leaderboards and take a screenshot of his total points and go, hey, here's my points. Where the hell's my prize?
That's the key.
That's simple.
I believe I believe he did. And this is not just some random person. This is somebody that I actually know. I believe he did, and maybe he just got a bad customer service rep or what, but I know he was sending stuff backwards and forwards and screenshots and everything else backwards and forwards. And so, you know, I can't speak to why, and I will follow up with him.
I'll tell you what, we'll pick up on CM a bit later on, because there's another issue we're going to highlight later on the slides. So
that just seemed odd. And then the other thing I did want to mention is that the tokens were actually, we were down 5 days of tokens, not just one.
Were we? Okay, I wasn't sure how many.
But let's be honest, we did gain 10 days worth in that, because we had an extra FM week the week before, and I saved all mine from that week.
Yeah, but you can't carry that one that week over into the next one to go into this raid, so you can get the Phoenix ready. I don't buy that one at all. I'm sorry. Yeah. It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing as having 10 days available in the raid so you can crank out your Phoenixes.
Not sure what you mean.
And back to the points thing, where you spent the points and it didn't redeem the prize. I can actually speak to that one, because I was on with Hefe and a couple of other folks when I redeemed my prize that it didn't award me, and I was using all sorts of naughty words, but it was only 12 million, and so I just didn't even bother with doing it. So, but I can personally attest that, you know, you could claim things and it never showed up type thing. So, you know, and there were, I think, a couple on the page also that had the same issue as well.
Yeah, so Lorraine was just saying, it confirmed that basically when the gate was down, yes, you could go straight in and get the special, and obviously the weapon and that sort of stuff. And when the gate was back up, then no, you couldn't. You had to go via the standard means and get the justice, then the whole, then the other base. So,
well, I understand that, but I know the person, and he was in my sector. I knew where he was on the leaderboard. I'm not sure if my screenshot captured his points, but you know, he more than had enough. He had over 120 million. So even if he had to go behind the justice, he still had the points to do it. But anyway, it was just a thing that, like I said, I experienced it, somebody else did, and there were a couple of folks on the page that had the same issue as well. So,
but I think you're right. It's a CM issue, which we'll cover in a second, because it's about consistent feedback through CMs as well. You know, I'm not saying you get a bad one, that sort of stuff, but you may catch somebody off, and somebody else is in that area has taken a bit of technical advice and has moved on to one stage further and is answering tickets slightly differently to other people. So it's a consistency thing, but we will deal with that again in a minute. Good. Sorry, go on.
No, that's okay. I think that was the last slide, wasn't it?
There's one more, I think.
Is there?
Yeah, I've got the PDF as well at the same time. So.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, yes, that's right. The raid timer issue. We did, although it was not as significant as what it was last time, at least in the 200s where I was at, as the raid was ending, about an hour before the raid ended, the map went dead. And for about 15 minutes, there were no targets spawning, at least in my sector. And so there's still something hinky going on with that timer that Kix needs to take a look at. And I know my raid, I think I'm a Gamma, I know for a while there we had nothing, and there were some other people that were reporting it as well. And kudos, Kix fixed it pretty quickly, so I don't know if it was like reboot the spawn button or what, but there was something going on towards the end of the raid where people were not able to access and finish the targets. And some guy was saying in chat just now, in the 400s, the map went dead, still with 4 hours to go, and that kind of actually fills in right about the time when ours went out.
Yeah, sounds about right. For us, I think we had about 2 hours. No, sorry, we had about 50 minutes to go, something like that. I was in T17, something like that. And exact same thing. I was prepping at that stage for my alliance. I was doing loads of, I was blitzing with my icebreakers, the S targets, and three of them, two of them, I was basically in one target with one holding and in another one as well prepping. And by the time I popped out, they just disappeared off the screen. So not only had I taken that damage, then that's 6 million points just lost for a a very low level. Who those 6 million points would have made a huge difference.
Yeah, that's frustrating. But that, other than that period though, that was the only time that I saw or heard any issues with the spawn time. I don't know. Can't speak to the rest of you, but I did not have a single target blow up like last raid where we were in a target, finished it, prepped it, got out, and the thing exploded. So
yeah, I did. That's exactly what happened to me this time, unfortunately. So I had to sack it and went, oh, I'm not doing any more. I'm not taking damage for the sake of it. And then, like you say, for about 10 minutes, there was, I don't know how long it was, Zaki, but about 10 minutes. And I was running a Grease Monkey crew then as well. So that was 10 minutes of dead nothing. I wasn't prepping blooming lower levels. No way.
Yeah.
But yeah, annoying. But and it's something to that trickle start, isn't it? It must be the way it works because it never used to do it. Where every start,
Yes.
it's so it's something to do with that new triple start thing. I don't know what, but I'm not a programmer, so
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Right. So those are the key things that we've discussed really basically. So is anything, George, anything you want to add specifically? Apart from obviously the obvious big issue that we've covered and I've got a fix for. Is there anything else you want to mention about in the raid quickly?
I mean, no. I'm just disappointed in several aspects of it. I have problems with the points amounts. I have problems with I just got small. It's all small little things that just.
But it does end up making it into quite a large collection of, and I think that's it. I mean, well, I'm not going to talk about the survey bit that we did because that comes later as well. But yeah, I think you're right. It's the little things,
Well, okay, so
amount to something quite big in the end.
Because this can reference later on when we do the survey thing. When I'm doing the raid, right? Here's the thing: as a higher end PvE player, when we go into these raids, we expect to be able to get everything we want. Okay, it's just an expectation because we've put the time and the energy and the investment in to get all our stuff done and be ready and be at the top of the game so we can take advantage of that. I mean, that's part of the payback of getting to that point. So when we look at stuff like if you look at the charged armor, for example, on its own, I can listen to the justification for the price and go, okay, I understand that. I understand that. I agree. That's fine. But then you look at how many things that we actually have to do so we can go into the next raid going forward. And it's the overall effect that kind of brings you down. The targets were great. I mean, I enjoyed it for the most part until, I go, oh, I need I did 110 S targets, right? If I don't count the preps. I did 110 S targets. That's like 14 hours of playtime. And, when you look back on it, it's like, yeah, I want to play a game, not a job, and then the tokens, the generic tokens, you usually get 10 on a raid like this, on the hull raid, on the store raid. And you can use those to get yourself prepared into the next raid set, which really would have helped because the Phoenix had such a high build time. And it's, each one individually is not something that you go, oh, those bastards. But then when you have the cumulative effect of all of it getting to you, then you kind of just sit back at the end of it and you're like, I don't even want to open up the game today, man. I'm burnt out. I'm annoyed. It takes a very positive experience and kind of sours it. Because let's be honest, if you look at it, the targets were pretty good. I mean, other than the ghost mortar, and we can get into that later if you guys want. But other than the ghost mortar, I mean, the targets were pretty good. I didn't have as much lag as usual. There were some spikes here and there.
Stacking was reasonable as well.
Yeah, I mean, if you took all that little crap away, and it was like I only needed to get like 120 million. Like if I had to only get 120 million to get everything in this raid, I would have been piss ass happy.
They don't want you to get 120 million though, mate. Because 120 million, and most people were saying my raid's done. I was done on Thursday night and that sort of stuff. But this format now, because it's a tech store raid and it's becoming every 3 months now, it's becoming the norm where they want you to be on longer. Otherwise, what else are you going to do for the rest of the 5 days? They want you on the game.
I would have prepped a bajillion people.
I say the same thing. I mean, I was very fortunate, just quickly, and I'll say, like I said, from the FM from the previous week, I saved all those tokens up, and basically then I went straight in there because I noticed the gate was unlocked. I went in there straight with my icebreaker, slammed on a crew, and I smashed it out, hit 60 million, and then I just went token, and I built almost 4 straight off. Because actually the build time blank is reasonable. That's when you put things on the damn things.
Yeah, I had 7 days saved up from the previous FM. Got the 5 that they gave us, and I had to buy a 1-day token to finish today.
Yeah, don't doubt that. Yeah,
and that's an issue. That's an issue for me because
it is. But then again, you don't say it's not a free game. You could have 3 ships ready and then have another one ready next month.
Sure, it's not a free game, but I mean, at the same point, I'm paying a premium to get this early. Either I'm getting this early and paying the premium so I can have it ready for next raid, or why the hell am I paying a premium now?
Or are you saying it's a cake and eat it
early.
moment? Cake and eat it?
For Kixeye, maybe.
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, here's the thing. We're getting the raid, the Hollow month early, right? And that's fine. But let's be honest. Next month, these targets are going to be tuned for the Phoenix. So it's not really technically early. It's, hey, you're going to need this now to do the top-end targets. Awesome. That's fine. That's fine. We're getting it with some time before the next raid. But I'm also paying a huge premium to get this thing. You know, without the dropping of the gate, it's what, 90 million points? Is that what it was, just to get the hull?
Well, it was 20 plus, to get the hull, 20 plus 60.
It was 80. So how much was it to get everything all together? 120?
120.
25 for the missile. Yeah, 25 for the missile and 15 again for the special.
It was like 120 for the Justice.
So it's 120. So it's 120 for everything, right? So to get the Phoenix to be ready for the next raid, I have to pay a premium of 120 million points. Okay. Now that presumes that I have something that can actually pull that off in this raid. And then with that high of a premium price, one would expect to be able to get these out and ready and participate in the next raid. Are we going to be able to get 4 of them ready for the next raid? No.
No, well,
not without coining.
We'll talk about VXP in a minute because I've also got a concern with that now. But anyway, no, I agree with you. I agree.
I mean, that's one of those things. It's just like, you know, all by itself, you know, maybe you might be able to pull it off with 3, right? But then if that's the case, then the price shouldn't be that high because we're paying a premium for what then? You know, so it's like there's an imbalance there, and then there's an imbalance. I mean, it's just it's souring experiences that could be really, really positive for the player base. And I don't know if they even realize that. You know what I mean? Because like I said, if you look at one individual thing by itself, it's justifiable. I'll even agree with it. You know, hey, you know, there's 3 different prices because this is going to be in the next raid, and this one's already been out, but you're going to still need it, and this one you're not going to need it except for the FM. And you know, great. I can understand the idea behind why they did what, but the issue is not an individual issue. It's a cumulative issue, and that's what I mean. It's like all these little things kind of play into souring something that really could have been, and it actually really was good. I mean, if you step back and go, okay, I didn't really need 600 million points. If you step back and look at it, it was actually a good raid. It was.
The one thing I like about the textual raids, okay, is the fact that they do feed the greed monster. And you know what? That's not a bad thing. It's interesting when people go, oh my God, all these points you've got to get 600 million. You don't have to get 600 million points. Yep. You like to get 600 million points.
Yeah, you don't have to.
You want to be the man. As I said many times before, this game is built on ego. And ego means I want everything because I want to be the best. So because I want to be the best, I'm talking generic. You know, I must have everything. I mean, I must have everything now. You know, I got smashed with a V Pride, you know, within 24 hours. You know, within 24 hours of the raid starting, there was a Pride fleet at my dock, which I thought was really funny. You know, coined, skull. It wasn't ranked, but it was coined. It was done. It was loaded. He died, but you know, it was funny because I went straight in and I got the Justice and I put it straight at my base, and he didn't get past it because he forgot to put something else in there with his fleet. But it just amused me that, you know, people will do this stuff because it's about egos. Yeah. You know, and the machine, the Kixie machine, my God, they've got a clever, that's why it's been going for so long. It's got nothing to do with the fact that it's a good game or a bad game. They've just tapped into something in human nature and they've got us.
They have, but you know, and look, I can differentiate between want and need, right? But to put it in perspective, if you had all your stuff already sorted, you didn't have to refit your Zealous, you didn't have to do anything. If you had everything sorted and all you needed to do was get the stuff for the next raid, not counting charged armors, we're gonna discount the charged armors for now. Just the main 3 prizes that you need for the next raid, right? You needed to play 2 3/4 hours straight, like of just straight hitting the 100. If you had that many 100s, sitting right next to each other and going from one to the next to the next to the next. You could have done it in just under 3 hours of straight gameplay. Now, no one plays like that, so it probably would really be closer to like, 4.5, 5. But that, that's what I mean. It's like, this is not small time amounts of time that we're talking about. And then if you want the charged armors, and we can do that math too.
I mean, well, in one Grease Monkey, I did 150 million points just in one crew, and I had 4 of those available. So I just did one on Thursday night, sat the game.
Oh, but you used icebreakers.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, exactly. And I was
saying the people that use skill hull. I mean, I don't know how many people actually pulled through with icebreakers. I think most people were running Zealous and Empyreans, or Zealous and Monos, which was not near as fast as the icebreakers, but it was cheaper if you didn't mess up.
No, absolutely. But I was, do you know what? If for one thing, because I got my built ride and that sort of stuff, which, don't forget, it cost me a lot to get there because I had all the charged armors on it, so I'm not paying for that fix and that sort of stuff. But actually, of the one raid in the last 6 months, and we're going to talk about 6 months review later on, it's the first time where the non-tech fleet for the Blitz fleet has actually done what it said it was going to do on the tin. Actually, yes, it cost me a little bit more, but by God, I soon cranked up those points. I was just smash, and actually then I could just go and then smash out and get 3 million points for myself and give the other 3 million points away. And I did somebody else's complete raid by prepping them, and they got everything, and I just prepped the whole lot. And they had the crappest one single ship, and all they had was one ship. But I left them one little thing in the S target, and they still got 160 million points. So it's possible, Now that to me,
it's possible. I mean, but you also,
didn't cost me
how much time other than your Grease Monkey run initially when you were? So that was when you were prepping.
Yeah, I mean, fortunately, I had 4 Grease Monkeys. So
yeah, the icebreaker
crews.
Yeah, I mean, but the icebreaker comes with a higher, cost to run. So
I hear you, but I couldn't do that prepping without using that type of fleet because it just take too long. I couldn't be asked.
I know, I did it. I mean, but that's what I'm saying is, these are the types of things that have to be, looked at and addressed, because I think, especially when just like anybody, if you're working on something very closely or you're very familiar with something, a lot of times, they call it, damn it, what do they call it in retail? Store blindness, right? So like the store manager will walk through the store and he won't notice a couple things because he sees the things every single day. And it doesn't dawn on him that this is an issue or that's got to get taken care of because he's so familiar with it, doesn't register.
Yeah,
and I think I think we might be getting into an area that's happening.
Yeah.
So I want someone. I hope someone will listen and actually just take a look. I mean, what exactly are you asking your players to do? Because there is an expectation. If you're on the top end of the spectrum for ships and hulls and all that crap, and I mean, there is an expectation to be able to pull a lot more than just, the 120 needed for the hull and the special and the weapon for the next raid. If you're at the top end, I mean that expectation is there, and honestly, I don't think it's. I think it's a just expectation because we've invested a lot of time to build this stuff. I want to get something back for my investment. Yeah. I mean, how much did you spend on those icebreakers? You should get something back for having that top end build on the icebreakers. You are entitled to expect to get a whole bunch more points than the next person. Instead, it seems like, hey, you know what? Yeah, you can have a whole bunch more points to get all this crazy stuff, but there's a whole lot of stuff that we're going to want you to get now so you can stay at the top. So for you to stay at the top now, we're not talking just the hull, the weapon, and the special. We're talking the hull, the weapon, and special, and a full complement of charged armors.
Absolutely, yeah. But for me, fortunately, the build I've got now, I haven't changed since the last raid. It's exactly the same raid. Yeah, I put the new rockets on because they came out, obviously, in the new refresh for the content for last month. So I did that in slow time, which is no problem at all. Fortunately for me, I haven't got anything else to do. I'm not overly keen on PvP at the moment, so I haven't really done anything to my base in eons, and I'm not overly bothered, to be honest. It doesn't really interest me. But what I was making sure was I was prepped for the next FM for the next 12 months, and I will be smashing the bahunias out of the FM with my icebreakers because they're built for it.
Yeah.
And it ain't going to take
good.
me, as I've said now, it takes me just under 10 minutes, and I've done the whole one cycle, and I fix them. In the morning, I wake up, and in 10 minutes, I've done the next one. I go to work, and everything's fixed. And I can just carry on doing what I want for the rest of the week.
Yep.
That works for me. I'm not sitting there. Like I said, I've done the whole cycle while one person is still in the same target. And I'm finished.
I'm finishing my icebreakers this week, and if I can find time, I might build that Pasagos too, but you know, again, I've built both fleets. I mean,
yeah. So just want to go quickly before we just go on to the main slides and this week's update and that sort of stuff. So a recap, if you wouldn't mind then. So going back to the targets issue, and particularly the last slide there where we had the timeout at the end of the alpha sector, then that was Laredo's come back, basically said the information that he's got that the reaped global, the targets reaped basically globally whilst Alpha World ended, but obviously this is actually corrected when the next spawn cycle started up again. So basically, when Alpha went pop, everybody's targets just went pop, and that's every target across all the worlds. And then slowly, some of the other targets were popping up because their cycles are slightly different. And the longest ones that took to pop up were the hundreds, weren't they? They took the longest of all of them, to be honest. But it did take a full cycle for them to come back in. So that's what the delay was. Whether they're going to fix that for the next time and make sure that doesn't happen, I don't know, but that can't continue, basically.
They need to, because there were a lot of people that half did a target, struggling, trying to finish, get, 2 hours left, rush, and they'd come out of a target to repair or switch fleets, and the target was gone and that kind of stuff. So it's, the first time I could say, yeah, okay. Second time, okay, we went through this before. Why didn't we correct it? So yeah, they need to fix that.
Good. And the last thing I want to say is, you know what I did like? There was still a nice plethora of different types of fleets out there doing the job.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Hey, Stu's in. Hello, mate.
Yeah, we saw some.
Spotted.
Hello, mate. How you doing?
Have you already got past bug fixes and tuning?
No one near it, mate.
Just in time then.
No, mate. We're only on slide 7 of 24, so don't worry about it.
Yeah,
we're having a long. We're overrunning tonight, mate, a bit. And I did sort of say that right at the start of the show. It's going to be quite a longish sort of show tonight because we've got lots to cover.
I do want to address something because it's come up twice now in the chat. People are planning on building the Zealous for the next raid set. Guys, we don't know what the targets are.
Yeah,
right?
please don't.
And I'm not sure that Kicksai is going to make that same mistake again in this raid set, because the Generalist is not supposed to be top tier stuff. So
should do B sets though.
I mean, hell, it should do A sets probably, but I'm just saying, don't expect it to do as well as it did this raid set.
I threw out a build, didn't I? Just as an example of things you could consider, because there's nothing out at the moment. And I thought I saw the specials that have just come out in the FM, and I thought to myself, well, let's have a look. Let's just throw something together quickly. Yeah, I put a couple of charged armors and that sort of stuff, But ultimately, just a flavour. And now, all you clever guys out there and girls, you go and knock together the fleet. That was my first 2 minutes look at it, and I thought to myself, that's interesting. I did hint last week that there was likely to be a missile coming out in a special. And Ren's just popped in at the same time. Hello, buddy. How are you?
Hey, guys. How's everyone?
How was the meeting, mate? Was it good?
It was good.
Good. Okay. You can gather your thoughts, mate, if you want to. And I don't know if you want to provide any feedback and that sort of stuff. But actually, we've not actually got into this week's update yet, mate. Nothing about the TLCs. We've just sort of finished the raid review.
Okay.
And we've gone a bit of a deep dive into it and covered a few points. So
we turned up perfectly timed, Ren. Don't worry.
It is.
We skipped George's moaning. We're good.
It was constructive. Right. Okay. So we've got a full complement all by Brian, but I think he also may come in a bit soon. Anyway, but we'll see what happens. So shall we actually start the proper slides now? Be a good time to do it, because I know Ren wanted to cover some points as well. So, right. So here we go. This is slide number 1 from obviously this week's update. As you can see then there's various things going on. So we've got 4 TLCs. Which is quite decent. One of them's brand new, particularly. There's a couple of reruns and that sort of stuff, So, as I said, there's some interesting things in the daily deals in the merchant store. But a couple of people were concerned about stuff that was in the merchant store. And that's like an example. There was somebody flagged up and he had 2 offers for Zealous build tokens. One was at X number of coins, and the other one was at a different rate. Now, the simple answer is the coin rate is randomated. Obviously, the number of tokens is generally quite sort of fixed. So if you're often, it's not set. Just because you've got 2 options in there doesn't mean they're going to be mirror imaged. So you can opt to get a low price for 2 or a not mirrored image, but it's still a lowish price for 4 in that example sort of stuff. So don't assume that just because because it was on our page as well, that just because one is offered at a set discount, I think it's like 42% or something like that, the second one may not be. So yeah. Anyway, good. Right. So
yeah, I mean,
yeah, go on, mate.
I was just gonna say I've had like Empyrean tokens come up next to each other. One day Empyrean tokens, one of them's 38 and the other one's 24. It's because each one of those, each deal individually actually is in a pot, and that gets just randomized and popped onto your thing. So you just got lucky to have 2 of the same tokens or whatever it was come up at the same time. I don't think you'll ever see them for the same price next to each other, because I don't think that's how it works. But
no, I don't think it does, because I don't know. I don't think I've ever noticed it the same consistently. I must admit, it always seems to be random amounts and that sort of stuff. Sometimes it's never as good as, you get the odd one and I snap it up, but generally it's not. Generally, if you go for the big token buy, you actually get a better deal that way. So depends what you want to do. So anyway, yeah, so it's Forsaken Mission. Let's have a quick look at this then. So this is the key point, obviously, as we mentioned in the open mic and last week's show, but the targets now from 40 upwards, obviously, are now, they've reformed into the new format, basically. So, but the side notes for this is obviously level 80 is now the 82. The 40 and 47 targets are timely. Brian's turned up as well. Good evening, Brian.
What the
We're still
going on?
We're still on, mate. Don't worry. We've hardly started yet. Don't worry.
we just started.
We've just started.
We just started? Oh, wow, we're early.
We're not. We're late, but we're having a long. Hey, right, the whole crew's here now. Right, good.
I just got home. Somebody else talk.
Okay, right. Okie dokie. So yeah, so the 40s and 47 targets have a new world map icon, but actually inside they're identical. So it makes them all look the same now. So don't think, oh my God, there's a new one, I've got to go and get a different fleet. No, you haven't. Okay, those haven't actually changed. It's just visually on the map now. They're all identical. So it just makes it easier for people. And as it said there, I mean, it already commenced. You probably noted then, obviously, because the raid week lasted a week or 6 days, basically the FM obviously didn't start till today. Interesting, 1:05 p.m. according to that. Good. And as I said, there's offers to the new things on the prize pool. So should we just jump forward one slide and have a look at those, and then we can discuss them. Okay, good. So here we go. Here's the first one, price pack 3 then. So as I presumed, and I did say about 3, 4, 5 weeks ago, I think it was, if you want to start, if you haven't already, thinking about doing retrofit on explosive plate, because I've got a funny feeling that that will be the next thing that's going to get bumped up. And here we go. Look, straight off the FM then, so Crystal Ball was working for me. There it is. So plates 4 and 5 are available, which is good. There's another one later on. So stats aren't horrendous, are they? Or what do you reckon?
I don't get it yet, because per salvo, the 2 weapons that we typically have, the Cataclysm Mortar and the rocket, they have a lot of easy ways to boost their damage. Let me just see.
I like it on the defenders. Defenders quite good, because these are the baby ones. So there's
we have the other ones. I already have plans for some of this stuff.
Yeah, me too as well. But please note, okay, the disclosure in the middle, okay, and the guys did say this, so don't go crazy. Oh, it's ranked 16 and that sort of stuff. Okay, in their test server, that's the way it works out. Okay, 16 is just it's just the way it is. Okay, don't worry about that. The fact is, you've got them in there. Whatever you've got your retrofit to, that will give you the correct number. So don't rate the fact that it says rank 16 as being the figure that you're going to get when it comes straight out of the package. So if you've retrofitted to R15, then you'll get the figure that you get. But the point is, these are the weights and these are the repair times and that sort of stuff. Okay, and the tiers as well. So just bear that in mind. It is as it is. Okay, so that's the disclaimer in the center of that one there. But anyway, so 14 then price pack 3, there's only one thing to collect. Okay, and price pack 4 then there is only one thing as well, so that's quite decent. And as we're showing here, and I'm really chuffed about this as well then. So the Zealous, as we thought, well, it doesn't have to be the Zealous, but it probably is. Okay, the Zealous is getting this nice missile, which has a reason.
I'm not calling that the Edge missile. I'm calling that Mini Hyena.
Do you know, it does look like one, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. It looks cool, but I'm still calling it Mini Hyena.
what I like for the generalist, I like generalist specials, and I think this is an excellent special. The missile's the missile, and there was one coming, but you can use many others. But I like the special. I think that's really, really good. The fact that it's only got 5 slots, and it's giving you range, it's giving you reload, and it's giving you damage. I like that.
That's a lot of reload. Holy
It's great,
crap.
isn't it?
Well, it's for the generalists. That's why. I mean, all
Yeah.
the missile hulls have it built in.
I mean, I really like it. I think it's excellent. I genuinely do think that's as a cracker, you know.
I'm gonna like trying to test this. That's for sure.
Yeah, me too.
Excuse me while I go design a missile Zealous right now.
I put it on our page, mate, as a rough idea. So because obviously you can't do it in the in Huggies yet, but you can do it on the game.
You can do it.
So
Yeah, the in-game shipyard. It's fine.
yeah, so I splashed one up on our thing. So but I like the weapon. It's great and that sort of stuff, you know. And I think I got up to like 62k damage or something like that, you know, on one, to be honest, just on one ship. So you know, whether a flag's going to come out as well now for the Zealous, like it did for the Imperians, I have no idea.
Oh no.
That was a tinfoil hat. I know Ren had a crystal ball
Use
moment
the
earlier today as
Savage.
well.
The Savage is the what's it for this? Just use the Savage. It's going to be okay.
Mm.
Yeah, I hope the Phoenix flagship is like the Savage, just reskinned. Quite honestly.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, the problem, at least in preview, that I had trying to run the Phoenixes with a Savage Cody is that the drones at some point, they're too fast, and the Phoenixes are running away from them too fast. And in the end, either you spend 2 minutes driving your Cody to the corner because it's low. I mean, mine's low, so it doesn't move back in battle too fast.
Yeah.
Or you're going to end up with the drones killing it. So it was a bit of a conundrum there, at least for the high-end target we had a chance to preview. Now,
Yeah,
I
true.
like the Zealous combo. The one thing that the Zealous combo is going to miss, and probably that's the reason it won't be able to do that elite target, it doesn't have that built-in anti-drone mechanic that the Phoenix does. And I think that mechanic is going to be the differentiator between the Phoenix and every single other fleet. It's the way it handles the drones.
I have to disagree with that because mine never fired. When I got that target down, mine never fired.
Oh, George is agreeing with me. That's a first.
Yeah.
So the other comment I wanted to make, I got a whole bunch of Zealous token, I think it was last raid or from a TLC. And then I got 2 shells out, and then we got this 15 days this raid. I got them all, so that's 2 shells out, and I still have some tokens to boot.
Nice.
And I got the VXP tokens as well, the 10 tokens. And just by applying 2 tokens per ship, I got them to 45% rank, which is more than halfway there. Which is good because the Zealous is like 4 hours to repair per ship without armor. So ranking them on the XP weekends is very costly or very slow if you don't coin. And I mean, I'm less excited about having a Zealous fleet for this raid just because of that repair time. Having one Zealous as tank taking damage with the Imperials on the back was okay. But if you try to drive a fleet of 4 Zealouses and the 4 take damage and you make a mistake and they die, it's 16 hours of repair before you put any armor on them.
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree.
That's my main concern.
Yeah. It's not cost effective, maybe, but it's, you know, yeah, you just got to make sure we can do that kiting and that running away thing, which in general terms, you know, with a bit of that plating, people weren't content that I would just offered plating on some of them, but, you know, it's just another idea, you know.
You know, if it's like it was last year where the Apollos, like you said, we could kite around and keep kiting and take very little damage from missiles, it's okay. If we're going to take more splash damage from corrosive things, then it may be a problem. We'll see, right? Because we didn't see the tier 5 or tier 6 targets yet, so they may be very suitable for a fleet of Zealous. You know, we don't know.
Okay, next slide, Andrew, if you wouldn't mind, mate. Good. Okay, and so did you notice actually, by the way, just how many things there are in Price Pack 5? So just bear that in mind that it's going to obviously be a full session now to get yourself to start going into build tokens. So just bear that in mind. It's not, you know, we gained that week from last month, but we're you know, got four prizes in prize pack 5 this time. So there's the third one, by the way. We'll go for explosive plate then. So that's obviously the top level of the explosive plate then. Like I say, so that's a repair duration of 40 minutes then. As you can see then, the weight's you know, 555. So you'll have to decide obviously what your deflection is once you work out what your retrofit level is. Okay. All right, interesting. Pro's just been timed out. Didn't last very long, did he? Right, okay. Now the other one actually, which is quite interesting, which is the alloy panels. So obviously that's a turret special, as it's highlighted there. Then, and it's nice to see that was the corrosive and the penetrative one. So that sort of upsets people that have just built prides and that sort of stuff, and the mugluts and those sort of stuff. And obviously people are still obviously hitting you with the liberators and those sort of things as well. So that should help a little bit. Do we like that special? What do we think?
It's concerning me how many things they are either buffing or introducing in order to counteract the mudgluts, rather than having just a simple, precise nerf on the missile itself.
It's not the mudgluts anymore, Brian. I disagree with you. I think it's the prize with the new flagship became super OP. I mean, they're not getting into any base. It's not like they're God Fleet, but I'm just saying, I mean, it's plus 250% damage. Right? If you put the flagship. So I think that's to counter more prides than mudgluts.
I would make the counterpoint that the Visago's pride had to exist after they made the changes to the chromium overlay, etc., based on the mudgluts, although we'll never know.
True. No, I agree with you that the whole mass with corrosive damage started with the mudgluts throwing things out of balance. But I think the mudgluts was solved when they made the sonar turret have a range of 390. Right.
That'll stop them.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been quite a few adjustments and that sort of stuff. I still sort of agree with Stu when he said that, you know what, why not, I think George said it as well, why not adjust the hull? We'll all accept it, or maybe we'll all accept it, rather than doing so many adjustments into the base, which then nerfs them or prevents the capability of some other hulls as well, you know. I don't know. I'm still undecided on that one. I don't know what you guys think, but I'm still not overly keen on the way it's been done. It's worked, yeah, I get that, but I'm still not overly keen. Yeah.
Well, honestly, I think it's too late now. I mean,
it is too late.
Everything's already implemented. It's not going to matter.
Yeah, and the CO plate is the explosive plate is cool. I mean, we knew it was coming, either that or ballistic after we saw the penetrative. So. No surprises there.
Cool. Okay, we'll try the next slide. Andrew's done a restart on his computer, so I've just picked up on the slides. Okay, so let's have a look, see where we are. So it's come around now already. So VXP weekend will be on us on the 23rd. Okay, so you haven't got very long, i.e. tomorrow. So it's not good. You haven't got much time to catch up, but. As it says there, then, okay, so it starts 9 a.m. PDT on the 23rd, you know, and goes right through to the Monday, again at 9 a.m. PDT. Okay, a little bit better for us in the UK because obviously we get +8. Reaver Armada target style is the 55 again. Salvages and elites, yeah, ×2 VXP, we get all that, but no one really goes for those these days. I don't think they do anyway, unless the really low levels do that. I'm not sure. Now, it says that the identified raiding fleet then, like the July elite target, the Fleet 100. And like I said, there's a type Fleet 99, which is the type 91 Reaver Armada target as well. But the one that I like, particularly at the bottom, so that one there, actually goes out for at the 24-hour window. That's the smash and die one, basically. But there's a level 100 target, which is yet again is similar to the one of the upcoming event. So if you want to preview something, I mean, I can't imagine anybody's coined up. Well, if I don't know why I've just said that, somebody would have coined a whole fleet.
Now that you said it.
Why did I say that? Okay, and so if you want to show your fleet off and that sort of stuff, I don't mind if you post a video build. It doesn't bother me. But there you go. There's a target for you.
No comment.
Yeah, it isn't. It isn't.
Dun dun dun.
But as I said, Stu, before you were in, you know, within a number of hours, somebody already gone in, smashed it, built the obviously the pride flag, and then came and hit my base straight away, which I thought was really amusing. It was the first night within about the first few hours, so it was quite made me chuckle.
Although
I'm hoping it
with-
looks a lot like what we saw in the test server, because man, I really like that target. It was really well balanced. It worked.
Yeah, that would be good. I must admit.
Yeah,
because,
I mean,
yeah,
they knocked it out of the park right off the bat with that one.
and with the only there one prize in tier 4 means you get a token on the second rotation, which means if you did great and got all your tokens, you actually will be able to have 4 shells out for this. So that's nice.
Yeah, no, it does, and that sort of stuff. So there's a bit of it there for everybody, which I quite like, and that sort of stuff. So you can have a little play with it with if you have built the phoenixes. At the moment, I'm amused at the moment how you can go out there and hit the salves and actually just use thud ones and kill them, which is pretty funny because that's what I've been doing. So with one thud one on each, and I've got 4 of them built that you can smash out a 75 salvage, which is very amusing. It's probably the first ship that's been able to do that. So yeah, but I'm slowly obviously putting one of the new missiles on. So I still won't be able to go in and play with the assault target because I'm nowhere near in a position. But I'll just crash them and then fix them and crash them and fix them a few times, and they'll be done. So I'm not sure which one's going to pay out the most, but obviously it's assault. It's not it's not one of those flipping defender hulls where you need 100 million. So it shouldn't take too long to get them ranked up. I don't think.
You know what's going to really happen, right? Mock's going to go in there. He's going to come out and he's going to repair, and he's going to be at like specialist 4, and he's going to go, you know what? I'm going to coin some stuff on this so I can see what it really does in this target.
Is that like me? Do you know me too well now?
I'm just saying that. I could totally see that happening.
Refer back to my previous about that ego thing.
At least this time I remembered not to completely finish my Harlock's Alpha Behemoth like I did with my regular Alpha, not Alpha Behemoth. The Alpha Behemoth, to where I had a ship with nothing but counters on it and then tried to take it into a target that spat water.
Oh, man.
I was like, well, it works really well.
But it's just going to take forever to die. That's funny.
Yeah, I finally went and killed it in a bunch of URFs, but yeah, that was not one of my finer moments.
Oh dear, that's good. I like it. All right, okay. So there you go. That's the VXP weekend. Have a great weekend. You're not getting a weekend off, all right then, because you're going straight into it. So I suppose if somebody hasn't got something that's done the raid that hasn't got something to rate to rank up, I'd be surprised, because there was ships down to as low as like 1.4 million or something like that, wasn't there? For the lower levels to get in some of the tier 5 sort of conqueror holes and that sort of stuff. I think, was it 1.5 or 2 million was the lowest price ship?
I know the mono was 3. I can open it up.
Yeah, the
I think it was 2 million. I think it was a defender hull or something.
I was going to say I'm really happy that they put that at 3 million, because I got a bunch of people, the mono and the Zealous is really easy to get in the FM. I mean, they have given people the opportunity to jump up in the FM real quick. So yeah. I'm kind of happy at some of that stuff.
Zealous was 1.5, which is also in the weekly. The Tide Seeker was 1.2. The Ironclad was 2 million. Rhinos for 1 million. Citadel for 1.2. Empyreans for 2 million. So yeah, there was a lot under the mono being 3, and there was a lot under that for people.
Rhinos in the Foundry. Apollo's in the Foundry.
Yeah, there's lots of stuff, isn't there? So. But if you just go in and just get something, at least there's stuff to do. So I was quite impressed. There's a couple of things I thought still should have been in there. The D30R was never there again, and there was a few bits and bobs. But in general, it was. I think the prize pool was pretty decent. To be honest, I was quite impressed.
I wish I saw a D30R in there.
Yeah.
Every time the raid comes up, people are asking me.
Yeah. And props for Andrew and his spreadsheet and being able to use that and figure out exactly, and not just his, but Wayne's, Gilliver's, and Thomas Long's, for being able to track, because I used to have to build something from scratch, so it's nice to be able to have something there that we can track everything with throughout the process.
Yep, okay. We won't mention what's happening in chat. Right, okay, good. So there you go, VXP weekend. Enjoy. Ooh, right. So this is this new TLC. Okay, right. So it says base level 40. Now I know I've seen somebody in the on our page that's really a little bit interested about, well, this is one of the targets. How am I supposed to kill that as level 40? But it was the last target in this set and that sort of stuff. It's a bit like when people run into the, obviously, which is coming up in a minute as well, when you go into the mega hole sort of one. You're not necessarily meant to get all the way through it on your first ever attempt, but clearly you can have a go at it and get as far as you can and get some of the kit from it. So not all of them are perfect, and you won't maybe be able to do the whole thing at level 40, you know, if you haven't got the right stuff, but at least you'll get some way through it.
Yeah, and look, guys, people that are starting to get into this and are just, you know, growing as a player, you know, some of us are gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna run through it because I want tokens or whatever, and you know, or hell, I just want to run through it because it's fun. These are, I like the fact that these are all available for people to catch up, and also they're not a whole ton of TLCs that you have to do, you know, to get. I mean, you don't need some of this stuff. You don't really need the one-day structure tokens. You don't need the retribution tokens. I mean, it's stuff that you can pass up, and it's not going to kill your game. Do
you know what I like though? Look at, I mean, has anybody got the prize pack up from obviously the raid again? What was the hammer cannon? How much was it?
The price on the hammer cannon?
I'm just interested because this is virtually being given away now, literally 24 hours after. Have you seen the target for this one yet? The first target?
I've not started any of this one. I was doing another one.
A level 40 most definitely.
Was there the hammer cannon?
I don't see it on the list.
Oh right, well, okay.
I'm not seeing it.
Because, well, I mean, the point is now that you're getting a Malice, which is still a very good tanky thing for base hitting, as we've shown many times before. You can make it into a real good tank. Clearly not for the top level targets, but definitely for people in the mid levels. But you're getting a Malice, you're getting a hammer, and you're getting a drum reloader.
Well, the other thing is
tokens of the XP.
Yeah, the other thing is too with the Malice. I think Ren's used it several times in some of the other TLCs to be able to do them with non-tier 6.
Yeah, some really good high resistances.
He runs a bunch of stuff that, and this is I think the Malice is one of them that he uses, and you know, it's not, if you're like, you know, if you're at level 40, 50, this ain't bad for you.
So hammer cannon and the drum reloaders, they're FM prizes right now. So also, if you're level 40, you're probably not cut up to tokens yet. If you do this, you can scratch off 1 tier 4 and 1 tier 5 prize before you get to those glorious tokens.
Okay, Andrew's back. He just obviously needs to fit that cooler he's bought for his PC because his PC keeps overheating.
That's not good.
But welcome back.
On.
Cheers. And Ren's dropped out, yeah, but I know Ren was still at work and he's already doing the town hall as well. He may pop back in later on, I'm not sure. But yeah, so great to have the Malice there. I think that's probably the right hull, I think, for a level 40 to jump in. If you're going to jump in and have a decent hull that can seem to do an awful lot of stuff, far more than maybe it was designed for, it can certainly hold its own, I'd say. And, you know, a level 40, 43, 45, you'll probably be up to about level 48 by the time you built 3 of those, probably. You can still have some fun, the sub level 50 sort of stuff, and just stay out and don't dock your res, and you'll do fine because you don't level up then. So, as in, if your warehouses are full and that sort of stuff, you know, you don't get hit too much, then it's very hard to rank up. So, because I've got a low level in mine, and he's got retributions and that sort of stuff, and his warehouses are full. He can't dock anymore, and he doesn't level up. So, yeah, he goes out and gets his alley points every week and has a good laugh. Right. Anyway, so yeah, price pack 2 or run 2, basically maximum turret. That's a nice one to have, isn't it? Again, you know, for a low level to get that turret, it's got amazing range on it and that sort of stuff, and it can hit hard. So that's pretty decent, isn't it? To be honest, not so sure about the solar reinforcement. It's a bit of a blur, isn't it? To be honest, and the solar panels.
Well, I mean, for people that are level 40, they might be stuck with, you know, level 7 turrets or 8, and sometimes we use that to squeeze in a little bit bigger of a defense turret.
But there's a turret there. There's a structure build token for 7, so that's a dock upgrade or a turret upgrade, isn't it? So, you know, a level 7 turret anyway. So that's quite a decent thing to get, isn't it? Or you can upgrade, obviously, your shipyard straight away as well. So, which will help people out. That's quite decent. And obviously, run 3 retributions. Is that better than a set of Malices with hammers on? I don't know. It's just something different, isn't it? To be honest, but
I still have retributions in my base. I'm just saying.
You know what I like? The fact that the right launcher is there. That's what I like.
Yes. Yep.
I mean, that's not been around. There'll be a stack of people doing this just for that. I still think a lot of people are going to do this. Atomic targeting is also a very good special as well. So I think a lot of people just run through this just to get that, or they may want to readjust their retributions anyway, because there you go, there's some more build tokens and that sort of stuff. So I like the TLC. Do you like this one? What are your thoughts?
I love it. I like almost all of them that came out. Like I said, it's not, for the low levels and stuff and mid levels, it's something that'll be helpful. And for the bigger guys, you can totally ignore it, and it's not gonna, no skin off your nose.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's pretty decent. Good. Okay, so there we go. Go on, Andrew. Sorry, mate.
The 1 day structure build token, is that been rectified so you can claim more than 2?
Yes. Sorry. Yeah. Up to 7. I think it is temporarily.
Yep.
So yeah, I think they've added additional ones to that now. I saw a fix that had come out as well. So yes, you can. So if you've already saved up some 7-day tokens, you can go over. I think it's gone up to 7. It was 5, I believe it was, or something like that, or something along those lines.
It was 2. Now it's 7.
Was it 2? Oh, it's gone up anyway. Whatever it is, anyway. So they've basically said you can now hold maximum from the previous and still do this, and then hold the misses as well. So
I would just go and check that.
I saw a note that had been placed out. Loreda's still in the chat, so you can double check for us. But right, okay, I'll move on the slides, and we'll come back then. What's next? Let's have a look then. Plunder. Okay, this one's back. This is a nice TLC. I quite like this one. So obviously, then this is the survivor hull. What do we like about the survivor hull? What's the best thing about the survivor?
Is not gonna give up.
We like survivor hull mixed with pride, don't we?
It was an interesting band in the 70s.
Survive.
80s.
I mean, I went for
going off Kino, mate.
I actually went for the TLC reference that time.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's nice. It's a nice buff hull. I mean, it's good to have on the back line, or like back on the corner if you're going in with some prides or something. Yeah. I'm seeing people come in with a V pride, 2 prides, and a couple of these, and I'm gonna tell you that's a bad combination.
Yeah. Although if you build a fleet of these, I don't think you're going to be very impressed, because somebody did hit me with a whole fleet of 5 of these. Didn't go well at all. People just don't read the stats, do they?
I have adjusted. Get wrecked.
It's supposed to complement. So, but yeah, and I mean, I have some people, like a bunch of people using it in their in the bases to help the base guard out and stuff, and I kind of like it. I like it. I mean, it's not a game breaker, which is good. I mean, I would much prefer something like this that gives you depth over game breakingness. But
yeah, it's a depth issue. Yeah, and I like its fleet special abilities and that sort of stuff. So I built one. I never went through this more than once. This TLC personally, because I only wanted one. I didn't really feel I needed another one. That sort of stuff, and it's doing what it's needed to do. So the turret I like, though, in price too. I like that turret. I think it's quite a decent turret. The range is nice, isn't it, on it, and that sort of stuff. There's more tokens there as well, which is nice. So it's
kind of good if you're not going to do. I wasn't planning on doing the second one either. However, those VXP tokens, will come in handy.
Yeah, very much so, because it's another win-win, isn't it? So
I'm just loving the structure tokens, because I can't be bothered to get base parts anymore.
No, I've stopped doing base parts as well.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I'm preparing for OP10, and I'm just stacking as many tokens as I possibly can, just whittling them away just for later on. So whenever it comes, I'll be like that, boom, 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 smash, smash, smash. That's my plan. So I've got a lovely stack of build tokens for my base. I can't remember how many days it is, but it's getting pretty decent now.
Enough. It is enough days.
Yes.
Yeah, but then again, if OP10 comes, if the dock goes up, and if the shipyard goes up, and anything else goes up, turrets, at least I can make a start on some of it. So I don't know what will get upped and what won't get upped, and but some of it will go up, I'm sure, including the OP itself, which will probably take X number of days. So
I'll call 18 days on that one.
You're gonna call 18?
Yeah, 18, 20 days.
I was thinking 22, but yeah.
That was what the last one was. So it was like about 18. So.
Well, they'll probably put that one like 18, 20, and then they'll knock the OP9 down a little bit. Probably cut off a couple of days. I mean, that's what they did when they bumped all that other stuff up.
That'd be nice.
So.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes. But obviously, you know, the fact that you can obviously, you know, base parts for getting OP9 stuff, you almost guaranteed to turn around and say that it's not going to be the case, obviously, for the stuff that's in OP10. So just bear that in mind. Good. Okay, so that's plunder. Please note that obviously, you know, it's a skirmishers one. It's for 1, 2, and 3, as it says there, and the conquerors for level 4. So obviously, that's when you get to the price pack 3 sort of level. So bear that in mind. And it also requires you to already have obviously outpost 9. So it's an option. It's there if you need it. Like I said, there's a couple of good reasons to do it and that sort of stuff. Even if it's just for getting a bit of VXP then for your survivor tank, or whether you use it.
I do want to add that Emancipated Turret's badass.
Yeah, I've got one in my base. I like it.
I think it's sweet.
So yeah, this is good. This plunder rerun is good. I like it. Yep, very good.
Good. Okay. We're not going to spend too long on this one because obviously this is, as we know, it's the rerun 57 of Hyperion Rising.
Yeah, and I'll add this. I mean, everyone is familiar with this thing by now. I think they are going to start looking at the prize packs again to try and get some of the stuff that's not in there out. I've had 2 people report to me so far that they've run it, and it seems like prize pack 1 is easier than last time. Prize pack 2 still gave them a little bit of difficulty, and they never got to prize pack 3 last time. So it might be, if you couldn't do it last time, it might be worth trying it again this time because they might have tweaked it again. So
and I'll say my same old. You know, the good thing is price pack 1. At least do price pack 1 because you're going to get the upgrade tokens as opposed to build tokens. So it's nice to have those. You normally get build tokens, so that's only for a fresh module. Whereas actually in the first one you get an upgrade token, so you can use that for going to level 2 or level 3 or level 4 sort of stuff. So it's the only one where you actually get the upgrade. The rest of them you don't get them, so you can stack them up. They're pretty decent. Yeah, encounters, as you say, well, you can read the same as I can. So it's a 3 hour, 1 hour, 1 hour thing and that sort of stuff. I've seen a lot more mega ships around, I must admit. You know, they are definitely getting out there now. But all's good. Yeah, and like I said, there's plenty of stuff. All the encounters are on the website. That's already been done and dusted. So as Andrew just said there in the chats, for you should be able to just view it and know whether you can get through it or not, sort of stuff. Right, good. Call to arms. I'm liking this one a lot. The thing I like about this one is you can do the call to arms with your icebreakers. I've just done it for free.
Yo, dog, I heard you like icebreakers.
I've just been, as Andrew was doing the slides, I was doing this on the slide on my other screen, and I just did it for nothing.
I was doing it while you guys had started the show because I was in the middle of one of the prize packs, because I'm getting this so I can actually finish refitting my icebreakers.
Yeah,
this is going to help me finish it, and that way I can, you know, my lazy ass can use this for the FM instead.
Yeah, it is a bit idle. So yeah, I mean, I posted somebody. I can't remember what the name of the player was, but basically somebody was going through and they were getting instant fix on their icebreakers, going through and doing obviously the S targets in the raid. And basically, I was like, oh, that's pretty interesting. So I'm going to use as many tokens as I can now and just play around until I can get my fix time down in the FM, because then that will make me a very happy bunny, and I will be able to then, well, be chuffed with myself, to be honest. But there's some good stuff in here. So there's tons of build tokens. There are tons of build tokens. You know, it's great that they've put, obviously in price pack 1 is the 100S, but obviously in price pack 2 is the V.
So TFC has a bunny and it's Mark. That was not expected. That was not expected.
It's a Brit.
Just saying.
It's a Brit. You got to be a happy bunny. Hey, Ren's back. He's good. You just missed that joke. It's all right, but don't worry about it. Hi, mate. You okay?
Yep.
So we're just going through some of the TLCs, mate. We're just saying the call to arms one, which is the icebreaker one, which is quite nice, because if you happen to already have icebreakers, you can do it for nothing. It's quite nice. And you can get a stack of tokens. So if you ever did want to do some of those refits, or if you've been grizzing it away and using the D100S and you haven't been able to fit that, you know, because of timelines, the D100V, I wouldn't change them all out, by the way, because they're not exactly, one's really good at killing ships and one's really good at killing turrets and that sort of stuff. So have a look at the stats. But at least then you can do them for free, you know, because there's so many build tokens on this thing. It's crazy. There are a plethora of build tokens. So
It's
And
good.
then
People won't have an excuse not to do FM.
And even if you don't want any of this stuff for icebreakers, at least do price pack 1. If you haven't got it, Garrison Battery X is in there, which is great for all your retargeting mortar ships. It's really good.
It's actually a decent substitute for Siege Battery 3, and it builds in like half the time. So I would consider that even for non-mortar ships. I mean,
it's light, isn't it?
Where
It's
you
light
need,
as well.
where you need Siege Battery is a lot lighter and builds a lot faster.
Yeah, I like it. That's good. So there you go. That's the one there. Basically, it's obviously it's garrison targets and that sort of stuff. You know, don't expect anything overly surprising. But Cold War cycle B set and run through 3 and 4 were the same turrets as say the first call to arms TLC. So you'll recognise many things in it, and there's nothing really from what I saw that could catch anybody out. And if you could do the last raid, you'll be fine. So you know, people are going through all sorts of ships and that sort of stuff. You know, so it's good. I like it. I think that there's another slide for it actually. Oh, just go. Oops, sorry. We'll just go through. Nearly stole Stu's moment there. Price pack 3. There you go. There's charged armors. So that clarification was done as well. Basically, if it says you can win the charge armor, you'll be getting the charge armor. Doesn't matter how many. I mean, there was a visual glitch and that sort of stuff that's saying basically it was already green ticked and that sort of stuff. But I saw the confirmation as it says down there. Then price packs 3 and 4. Doesn't matter what it visually shows you, you will definitely get those charge armors. So that's a good thing. I know the price was dropped obviously in the raid that's just happened, that sort of stuff, and maybe you're not that bothered about getting too much X now. But you probably should do if you haven't got some already, because even if you chop out some of it for the FM onto your raid fleet, your FM fleet, you know, I'm sure there'll be some more TLCs that'll come back, but it's just going to have obviously garrison targets, and the FM itself is a good thing. So as we know with charge armor, it doesn't cost anything to fix it. Once the pool's gone, I know it's damaging, but you know, your fix times are definitely lower. Oh,
this may be an option for those that, you know, couldn't get all of the raid points. To get them in the raid points, they may actually have an easier time doing this. So
yeah, and as Ren quickly said there, it's the same as a call to arms, you know, so you shouldn't have any problems. I think you're right. Yeah, that's a fair point actually, Robin. That's a good point. I like this one. I must admit, I think it's got some really good potential. There's stacks of. Did you notice that? It's obviously got, you know, if you wanted to titivate again on your Vasagas, and I need to do that then, so you've got 10 build tokens there straight away. One crazy mistake I noticed that my Vasago was actually just about 1 on ships on combat speed. It was 1 different to my main fleet. God knows how I managed to do that. So that was costing me a little bit, obviously in the raid. So I'll adjust that now, and I can do it for free, which is good. So I'm very happy. Considerably happy. Anyway, enjoy it, have it. It's if you've got the time to do it, you know, basically it's like extending your FM, basically the same sort of situation. Right, Stu, you're up, mate. It's not much, but it's there. If he's still here, is he on?
I was trolling in chat.
All right.
Oh, you were trolling in chat.
Where mortar shells were sometimes able to bypass countermeasures. That would be George's. Oh my God, it's a ghost mortar, man.
We've got a whole thing on that in a minute. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Yep. Fixed an issue where more remote targeting range would get a boost in range from missile range increasing specials in certain situations. I did not know that. If I had, I probably would have abused it.
Whoa, say that again. Hang on, what's that?
Exactly.
I think what they were saying is that mortar remote targeting was longer than it should have been because it was using missile range targeting when you had missile range targeting, and it was some obscure thing.
I didn't know that.
Nor did I. If I had, I probably would have used it. So.
Well, I think that was actually identified as a part of them looking for the other piece of it, the mortar piece.
Yeah, fair points. Okay, there's only 2 anyway, so that's it. Okay, so you know, apparently everything else in the game's fine.
Is that it?
That's it, mate.
Oh, quite disappointing.
I haven't hidden anything. Sorry, buddy. Yeah, I know you came in just for that.
The website has been updated for all the TLCs apart from the Implements of War. That'll be updated as soon as I get the videos for it.
Thank you, Andrew.
Cool, mate.
Thank
Cheers.
you.
Right. Okay. Oh, here we go then. Right. I am not going to read all that, but that is the statement. Okay, so you can read it. I'll leave it up on the screen for a little bit. Okay.
That's only little snippets of the statement. So
Yeah, it's the key bits. So I've sort of like paraphrased. Well, Andrew paraphrased it, and I bunched it even tighter again there. So the key output basically is something that was addressed maybe about 4-5 months, no, probably 7 months ago now. So when we started getting the very first garrison targets, I know George threw in a video at a time, and we went, something's not right here. When we kept saying about there's this mortar, it keeps shooting over us, and we can't take it down, and then it was like this target is not playing, and then all of a sudden we get to this new raid format. Well, the raid format has just passed, and because obviously in the raid where the damage is upped, it started having a massive impact, didn't it? And I think this particular one, it was really, really evident. But it was not just mortars as well. There was issues as well with phalanxes doing weird things and that sort of stuff. So this is an acknowledgement, and it is important. A lot of people think, oh, the raid's over now, and it cost me a lot of money, and it's too late to get, why did you bother fixing it on the last day? Well, because it bleeds into the FM, and it would also then bleed into TLCs, and it also bleed into other areas of the game. So it had to be fixed, but it wasn't so evident as it was in the raid, and it was so evident. And thanks everybody for putting up, halfway through the raid, in the first sort of like 48 hours, we asked people to show videos because we were asked directly from Kickside to say, please provide us the evidence. We need as much data as we can. And it was your evidence.
I was going to say, don't forget as well that it takes time to fix issues with the game. Like, it's not like click my fingers, it's fixed, it's done. They have to locate, find the problem, and then fix it.
But this is an absolute proof of where the community has found an issue, and with the data that the community has put in, Kickside have fixed the issue.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that is an important point, because people are talking about, I know there were some complaints about no acknowledgement and that kind of stuff. And if you read the full statement as to what they did, this was one of those things that basically, if the moon was full, the tide was high, and it's Wednesday, they were able to see it. And a lot of times people don't understand or don't think about that when you're looking for an obscure issue that happens in a bunch of spaghetti logic code, that it's not necessarily a quick thing to even identify, let alone fix. So I think
it's really not. It's actually quite hard.
Yeah, it is. It is. And
I want to touch on this a little bit, because I actually the initial video that went in was several months ago from 109. Okay, and they have looked for it a couple of times, and the problem was this was one of those things that they absolutely had to be able to reproduce so they could find what was going on in the code. And the problem is, when we were doing the 109s, there wasn't enough to track it, right? Because it would happen, like when I caught it, I think I had to run like 50 targets to get it twice, and it wasn't enough to catch it, because what it is it's a race condition, which is the system's trying to do two operations at once, but it can't, because it has to do it in the proper sequence. Okay, that's what a race condition is. And on Thursday, when the raid started, I had a video on the 113 too. That was like 1 week. The raid started. I caught this on Thursday. I sent it in, and they still couldn't find it, even with data pulls and all of the stuff. There wasn't enough data for them to do it. And then when we asked the community to start sending stuff in, that helped them immensely, because this is one of those things that what the computer or what the program was actually trying to do was not supposed to be trying to do it. That's why it's called the race condition, is that it's trying to do two separate things at the same time that it's not supposed to. It was trying to do two operations at once. It's not supposed to. It's not something that you easily find in the code. I mean, it literally took the guy that actually was doing the tracking on this was pulling his poor hair out over the weekend. The main guy that was doing it. I mean, this was a really complex thing to fix. Like, I don't know if we can stress that enough, but all the videos really, really helped to narrow it down. And I believe that it also was part of the reason why we were seeing an occasional missile. One thing I do want to address, because I keep on seeing everyone going, what are we going to get for, payment or gold or blah, blah, blah. This condition also, I think, I'm not 100% sure, but also works the other way, wherein if you had a missile that has already been flagged by a phalanx, it could get tagged by a hailstorm or another phalanx.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have been and hit you. I just want people to be aware it wasn't a one-way street in this case. Okay, it's what was actually happening was really effed up. Okay, so I just want people to be aware it was not a one-way street. It actually did kind of help us as well in some instances. And I'm just glad that they found it. But it was a really big project, and they did it over the weekend too. So
yeah, no. Also, two things here as well I wanted to add to that. Okay, first one is, okay, they honestly came out, and I'll tell everybody this now. They honestly came out and said, look, we have the fix for this now, but we are really nervous to do a hot fix in the raid in case we bugger things up. Yeah. So on their side, they had a hot fix. But as we've said many times before, by the time it goes into the real game and then gets blasted around the world and that sort of stuff, you know, there's so what's to that when it goes through all the different servers, the Amazon ones and that sort of stuff, and gets pushed out and it goes through everybody's PC. What is it actually going to feel like at the far end? So whilst they fixed it on their own end, okay, then, and it seemed to be absolutely sorted, and they couldn't replicate then after many tries of what we were sending, not we, but the community was sending in, and not just this page, the other pages as well. Okay. It was done. It was done prior to the end of the raid, but they were not going to do it during the raid. They didn't want to trash the end of a raid because that would really, imagine if it had gone wrong. That would have been it. That would have been,
and that's the risk that people don't realize. You know, they're screaming to get it fix. Why is this happening? And that is always a risk that when you go in there, and even if you do identify it, if you fix it halfway through, and the opposite occurs to, you know, inadvertently, you know, other stuff is now starting to get through. You know, it's a double-edged sword. So I agree with everybody's grief. You know, it hurt me. I got tagged by that and the souls that were coming through and that kind of stuff. And although it was frustrating, you know, it's one of those key cases of dance with the devil, you know, rather than, you know, jump up and down and say fix, and then find out that nobody can do anything.
Yeah, and so the other thing I was going to mention then of the second of the two items is the not so uniform response from the CMs. Okay, and I think it was a trickle effect where maybe it was shift patterns and that sort of stuff, you know, and updates as the game developers were starting to work out what the problem was and then work on the problem, that sort of stuff. So people that maybe put on initial tickets in didn't get the response that people were getting in the latter tickets, or maybe the shift the same day, or I don't know, because I don't you know, I have no idea how that end of this company works and that sort of stuff. But you know, it's almost like Chinese whispers, and yeah, I know Ru knows and that sort of stuff. But it's,
I know how it's supposed to work.
Yeah, I know how it's supposed to work. But generally, most call centers work in a way where basically they come on shift, they get the latest set of cards to go, crib cards to go down through and that sort of stuff. They read them first, and then basically they go, right, okay, hello, caller number 57. Okay, and what is your problem? Start at the top of the flow chart. Let's work down. Okay, and so just because they answered it, now if they think they know, you know, if someone's lazy, you know, we're not all freaking rocket scientists here. If they are lazy, okay, I'm not saying they are, I'm not saying they're not, but if you were lazy then, and you went, oh, that's the same question as yesterday, here's the answer, and didn't bother reading your crew card and think, yeah, there is a problem with that, it does exist. So some people did get a ticket, okay, that said there is no problem, blah blah blah. Well, actually, somebody else at the very same time got a ticket, went, yes, we noticed this now, and this is a situation, and this is what we're going to do to compensate you. So there was a little bit of a crossover, I think.
Well, and it's not. This is not the first.
No, it's not.
Time that
I'm not
happened.
Justifying anything for anybody whatsoever.
Yeah, no, it's not the first time we had the same thing with the charged armor, and you're right, it's a valid point. It's one thing, you know, if everybody were getting the same, I call them auto-canned responses, saying, you know, we're aware of an issue with like the charged armor, or we're aware of an issue with the mortar. Where it gets frustrating for players is that it constantly happenings, and we see it on the page and people post their responses and stuff like that. So somebody else sends a ticket in, and then, you know, they get the royal, no, there's nothing to see here, move along. So I think that is something that Kix really needs to address in their handover, in their ability to see what issues are there. And because sometimes even just acknowledging the issue is enough for other players. You know, you don't necessarily need to give me a fix, but tell me that, yes, we're aware of it, and yes, we're working on it.
Yeah, no,
I really would like some consistency, because the disparity between some people's responses, those that actually got acknowledged and got something, were extreme. I mean, from
Yes.
3 million points for someone that has 600 million points already to someone that has like 100 million points and got 300 gold. I mean, what the hell, man? That's an extreme range of responses. That's got to get corrected and looked at.
Understood. But I think the fact that, it's difficult, and I'm not sure who got it in and who, some of the CMs could have sent it on to one of the game designers and said, do you know what, I've had this guy, can you have a look at this sort of stuff? And if he can't reproduce it, and he can go on to think, well, I can't reproduce that. I don't know if it's, they'll give that. I don't want to justify anything at all. I'm just saying, playing the devil's advocate and sitting on the fence, we all know that this is a real difficult thing to replicate. That's what I'm saying, and then I think the slow replication of the responses from the CMs, and I think by Sunday it was probably sorted, to be honest. I mean, by Saturday night, sort of Sunday, most people were getting the same sort of like, we get it, we understand, here's a bit of compensation, best we can do. And I think in general terms, if you could put a ticket in, that is, I still feel in some respects a bit sorry for people that can't put them in at all. But
I understand what you're saying, and to a certain extent, yes. But the problem is it's one thing for me to write in and say, hey, there's a ghost wart, it's killing me, I hate you, I want gold, da 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 da. It's another thing when a player actually takes the time to capture it, and this is the frustrating thing for me. This is, not only was it hard for Kicks to replicate, it was hard for the players to replicate. And there were people out there that I know of that were running video non-stop during the raid just so that they could catch this. And so Kicks needs to understand, and their customer service people need to understand, that if somebody takes the time to give you a video, not only A, do they care enough about the issue, but B, acknowledge the fact that when you get a video, that is proof, and that it does need to get run up the flagpole. Because I know there were a couple people that were had hours and hours and hours of video just to try and catch that Phantom Mort, and then they had to go back and look through said hours and hours of video to go ahead and capture just that little piece, and then edit it and do all of the other stuff. So that's just something else I think that they need to look at as well.
Small hint that the Zealous that took advantage of the Phalanx tree could replicate it easier than anything else on the map.
Do you know what? I think I know it was happening in 81s and all that sort of stuff, and some of the 84. And it was happening various targets, but it was most easily demonstrated, I think, in obviously the S target, because you had that time and that space and that sort of stuff. And I saw some really good, clear evidence where it was absolutely blatant. So But props to them, that they acknowledged the facts straight, as soon as they could, and went, yeah, we got it, we see it, okay, and then they come back and said, look, we've got it, but we didn't do this, and that's great. I liked it. Anyway, that's good. That's
I like the
just said in our chat. Let's move on.
I like the transparency. I mean, I want people to understand that they're starting to talk to us and let us know stuff. So have at it.
Okie dokie. Right, here's a good section. I'm glad I think Andrew's still awake and that sort of stuff, because he's got some background detail on this. Andrew, you still there with us, mate? Hoping he is.
Some sort of.
Sort of there, yeah. I knew you were tired, mate, and that sort of stuff. So you're back in. Good. I know your PC's causing a problem. So look, I basically popped this up during the raid because there was an awful lot of, some of it about the ghost morts was part of the problem, that sort of stuff. But a little bit we touched on earlier on. You can't really put your finger on what the problem is, but there is definitely, and this is a sort of a reflection of the last 6 months, whether it be the fact that you really just don't like the fact that we've gone from four cycle raids to 3 cycle raids, and getting the hull early. No, getting the hull is a must, really, now, to be honest. If you don't get the hull early, by the time you get it in the next raid, and then you wait and that sort of stuff, and you only get one shot at using it, and that's in one raid, and then you're using it to get the next one for the next raid set. So I personally think it's a huge failure having a 3-month raid cycle, moving from a 4-month raid cycle. I think it's the biggest failure in the game at the moment, the first 6 months. That's my personal feeling. Okay, it's not TFC's, but it's my personal one. Okay, I think that was a huge mistake. And I think it's costing people dearly. And it's definitely costing people, some people are leaving the game because of it. But in general terms, then I put this question up on our page and that sort of stuff. I flagged it up the top for a while, and Andrew did an excellent thing. We kept it off the page as best we could, and we kept it onto our website because there's a lot of data there we want to capture and pass up. So we had an awful lot of responses, in the hundreds, by the way. Thank you very much.
Even I did it, mate.
It's good. And do you know what? I put it on that because not everybody's on the TFC page, but people are in the alliances and they can go, oh, nip onto here and fill out this form. So we didn't mean you only have to come onto our page and join us and that sort of stuff. And I wanted anonymity and that sort of stuff. I didn't want people to say, oh, look, I've done this and that sort of stuff. So the data of the names of the people, you know, unless Kickstarter come back to us and say, I really like that man's point, can you find out who that is for us? That's the only reason we've put up your game naming sort of stuff into it. And then we can just use that. I didn't want email addresses and that sort of stuff. We just wanted a possible way of linking in. Some of the game names clearly must be made up. It's not possible. Okay. But I can't think that you have them in the game. Yes, exactly that. But there were some excellent questions. Some excellent feedback. So we had the simple 1 to 10 scores, which we're going to show in a second, and the results have surprised me, I have to say, in some areas. And then obviously there's your top 3 points and that sort of stuff. So those we'll have to go through in slow time. We'll collate those into a slightly different table, and we will pass those key points up because there are a couple of people obviously in Kickstarter themselves and going, do you know what? If you're not happy, what aren't you happy about? Then let me know about it, and we'll see if we can do something about it. So, again, they are listening, but they just need to know. Okay, so some people are leaving, but why is they're leaving for? What is it? I want to touch on something, and maybe we can do something about it. So
I've got about 10 screenshots of some of the answers to the forms that
have you? Okay, then that's great, mate. So I'll finish these 4 slides, and then I'll
say a name off it as well.
Okay, so I'll do these 4 slides, and then we'll jump off, and I'll broadcast your screen as well, mate. Okay. So yeah, so like I said, simple 1 to 10, the normal sort of stuff. You know, that's the typical Kickstarter answer, isn't it? On 1 to 10, how much do you rate the game? That sort of stuff. So we sort of like replicate that a little bit, but then we left 3 boxes open and say, what's your problem, or is there something you liked? You know, and why do you like it? You know, because they could probably do as much as the problems as well, to be honest. So that was basically the question that we posed, or I posed, and this is the first one back then. So rate the game at the moment from 1 to 10. Where are you now? Disgruntled players, you know. So there they are. 323 was the last cap. No, it's still going up, I think. Or if you're taking it down, Andrew, I can't remember.
So I believe that's the final count now.
Okay, so that's the final count then. Okay, so yeah, and so in all those there, they add up basically. But for me, in general terms, 5 and above, you know, it's quite a reasonable proportion of the player base. And I actually thought as a mid-raid sort of thing that I was going to put up there, I was expecting it to be lower than that. I don't know what you guys think.
I don't know, graphs confuse me, man. So I just look at it like, what?
Well, if you look on the bottom score, sorry, mate, look on the bottom one there. So that's total numbers then. So 60 people said X, Y, Z. But along the bottom then, 1 to 10. So if you think Kickstarter is amazing, give it a 10. Okay? There were no 10s. Okay, simple as.
Oh, right, okay.
Somebody give it a 9. Some, you know, 20 people give it, you know, nearly 20 people, so 18 people roughly gave it sort of like an 8 and that sort of stuff, you know, and so on. But,
well,
you know,
there's a lot more 9s than I thought to do.
So there's some 9s up there, you know, but the thing is,
well, there's like what, 2 9s.
There's 55 people give it a 7-ish. Yeah, give it a 7. There's another 50 people give it a 6, and another sort of 55 people give it. So you know, so there's 150. That's nearly half of the player base there. Give it between 5 and 7.
Yeah, having your mouse over the lines, it will tell you exactly how many folk.
Will it?
I think part of it. Sorry, go ahead, George.
I was just going to say, I think part of it is that, you know, the people that, I mean, I don't want to pat, you know, a community on the back, but I'm going to pat that community on the back. I think most people that are on the TFC page now, you know, actually care and like the game. So, you know, it might be skewed a little bit up, but I don't think it's skewed that much up. You know, I'm actually kind of shocked that
that's what you're saying. Yeah, no, you think, yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. So
I actually think that's a good thing, because if you think about it, when it was posted, there was the Phantom Mortar issue that was still going over there. People were tired and cranky from grinding, and so I think that's interesting that there are so many positives in there, and that's a good thing, because even though we were all suffering from raid hangover and that kind of stuff, there was still a lot of positive. A lot of positive players that were out there. So I too thought it would be a lot lower, and so I was happy to see that it was so high.
Yeah. Jeff, that's not helpful, mate. Okay. So yeah, so there's the first one. Okay, so anyway, rate it. I've always wondered what because that's really intrigued me. You get the surveys yourself and that sort of stuff, and you fill in your own bits and you say everything yourself. Now there are some positive things that's happened in the game. There's some real good ones. Hey, Ren's back. There's some real good positive stuff. So to see those sort of figures, I think that's almost like, I mean, yes, there's people in the 40s there that are rating it at 3s and 4s. I was expecting a lot more 1s and 2s. I really was, So the disgruntled people in the 1s, I get that. There aren't many people rating it 2. There's an awful lot between 3 and 7. So that's pretty decent as far as I'm concerned. Pretty decent.
Yep.
So there we go. Okay, it's only a straw poll. It's not a huge amount of people, but it's not bad. It's better than I thought it was. So at least we know that's genuine, accurate figures that people have actually put in themselves. So next one.
Hi there.
Hello, Ray. This is the one that confirms what I think. People are not happy with the raid format.
Holy
They
crap.
are not happy.
Yeah, no one is.
And I'm going to tie this into one of the questions I'm hoping that will come out of it. Do you like the 3-month format, or do you prefer the 4-month format, giving yourself more time and
I
more
want
chance?
more time. 'Cause then I
More
can have,
chance
like, a
to go,
month
do you know
off.
what? I'll miss out. I'm not going to get the 150 to 400 million points that's required to do this before the first raid starts. But I don't mind knocking out and getting the whole in the first one, the bits and bobs in the second one, ranking it up, and then the third and fourth I can actually go and use the damn thing. And
Well,
that
for me, it's not
is the
just
problem.
that, dude. It's like, I mean, if I have 4 months instead of 3, once I finish my Phoenixes, I might actually have a month to build some other stuff.
And that's,
People
Rather
think
than
so.
just sweat it, and have to coin here and there to get a month to build some other stuff.
and that's one of the things I actually put in one of my responses. I did some math about build time versus the raid cycle, and you're not going to build your raid fleet during a raid because what? So it was like 100. I estimated 105 days to build a full fleet of Phoenixes without an officer.
Yep.
And about 82 days in the cycle,
There's no time.
and that's dumb.
There's no time.
If they made the build time shorter, you could get everything in the 3 months and still have time to build your PvP and PvE fleets, but they're not taking that into account. I feel like if they did, that would alleviate this problem significantly, if not completely eliminate it.
My gut feel is the missile is twice the build
the-
time it should be. I think that's the key fault. I've looked at all
Well,
the
I
specials.
think
I think it's
I
the
If I
missile.
could jump in,
Yeah, go on.
I was
Ren.
just gonna say, I would be okay with a 3-month cycle if the time to build a ship, a complete ship, like for the cycle, was not over 10 days, right? I mean, and
Agreed.
I actually did. I went back to the shipyard, and I built a full Rhino the way I built my original Rhinos in 2015, and they were a 12-day build. Then I built an original Apollo the way I built them when they came out. It was under 15 days, 14 days and change. You get a Phoenix now with officer, with all the bonuses and everything, it's close to 20 days. So you can see the escalation, and I think they try to address that escalation with tokens, right? Because now they can say, and in the end, I think they started offering tokens, and then they went into token overdrive, but that gives them the license to, in their minds, to increase the build times all over again. So we're getting to the 20-day mark, or if people don't have officers, the 22-day mark, where we were when the game was collapsing early in 2016, when we had like holes at 24-day build times, if you remember that.
Yeah.
So we're getting back to that, but now they say, oh, but you have tokens. But you know what? Only about 5,000 players in the game are getting all the FM tokens and all the raid tokens and all the TLC tokens, if that many. So what they're doing is creating a wider, just to finish, they're just creating a wider and wider and wider chasm between the haves and have-nots, which is driving people who are not in the top 5,000, 3,000 away from the game because they just cannot keep up.
And Wales.
And eventually we'll be left with 5,000 players that will all be hitting each other, and me and Ren will just trouble each other all day long and win the game.
But the thing is, Wales need Krill to survive.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I mean, I think it's more than just the build times. I think it's both the build times and the 3-month cycle. Because I mean, look, even in this last raid, I saw people still trying to to get stuff for their monolith fleets. You know, I mean, I think the 3-month cycle causes some issues, both, you know, in the short term and the long term, right? Because, you know, in the short term, it contracts how much time you have to actually build a viable hull, right? It limits your time to be able to do the PvP aspect of the game, both base hitting and base defense. I mean, I haven't been able to do crap in months, you know. Many players don't get their fleet sorted for raid until the last raid now. I mean, they're working on it now, you know, and then that goes, you know, like Ron was going with, you know, saying about the chasm between the players and stuff. Then it goes into the long term, and it puts a lot of players behind the 8 ball, because they you know, by the end of the raid series, they have to decide whether they want to invest in finishing the current series fleet, or if they want to go to the next one, and then PvP gets set aside, and then they're looking at other players that are, you know, cracking out, you know, hundreds of millions of points. And I don't think the 3-month raid cycle caused a problem, and it's compounding with the build times now to make it even worse.
Yeah, I agree. So I think either they got to cut on one end or the other. Either go back to the 4-month cycle, which I really doubt they're going to do, because it's nice and neat and fits well with 4 different types of raid, having one every 3 months, because then you can fit everything in a year. It's very neat. I understand that. But then they got to do something on the other end that benefits all players, and not only the top 3K, 5K players, which is keep one of the top raid fleets. And if it's not, let's say in this case, if it's not the Phoenix fleet, then it should be the Skyfire fleet. But one of them needs to be built, fully equipped in 10 days per ship. So you can actually get, you know, a full fleet in 40 days, 50 days, and then you get some of the tokens, which most players can get some of the tokens. You could get that down to a month.
Which I find is quite fair. Being ready for the second raid cycle or the first raid cycle, you know, probably in the middle of the second raid cycle, let's be honest. But I think that's quite fair. I'd rather that than what I'm currently looking at, which, I mean, I do get all the tokens, but I'm still looking at not being able to play the first raid cycle unless I put coin in. And I'm probably going to join maybe second if I'm lucky.
Yeah, and here's this. I mean, the story is like I'm amongst those 5,000 players who can get all the tokens. So I'm actually at a point where I'm running out of things to build with my shipyard. For the whole week before the raid, I had nothing I was interested in building. Right? Because I do all the TLCs, so I get my gluttonies insta-built with tokens. I got oppressors insta-built with tokens. I got more liberator tokens, so I went from 2 to 4 liberators. I'm getting my conquerors all insta-built with tokens. I just wait for the second time the campaign runs, and I get enough tokens that I can get 3-4 ships.
Yeah, and these TLCs are just proven.
And I'm running, so the whole week before raid, I just saved as many FM tokens as I wanted, because I'm like, okay, I don't have anything I want to build.
I was just about to say, like, that's true as well, but, like, it's not just you don't have anything you want to build. Like, the things that you're thinking about building as well, you don't have tokens for, and it's too long of a commitment.
Exactly.
Like, for instance, I said to myself, like, oh, I might refit my Apollos because they're old, they're outdated, better stuff's come out, and then I thought, oh, hang on a minute. That's a bit of a commitment there. I'm going to lose my shipyard for so-and-so time. I don't think I can afford to do it, you know? So I don't do it. I end up just, you know, building a gluttony for free or something like that. And then I'm like, well, I've got nothing else to do.
Yeah, each of these decisions is a commitment of multiple days at the very least, and typically weeks, and sometimes months if we're building a full fleet. And we're expected to keep up with just poor quality releases and things that change drastically on a dime with no communication. The D85D was and the charged armor changes, those imposed huge build costs on us that we could not have seen coming. And they had to bring out 30 days worth of tokens in the first call to arms to sort of maybe make it okay. But if they didn't, they were going to have a riot on their hands. Like, these, we can't just adjust for this. We don't have the physical time. Like, they can try to give us tokens, but not everyone can get all the tokens, and they can't just make more time exist. This isn't Doctor Who, guys.
Yeah.
You got to stop this.
Yeah, I agree. And again, I mean, my concern is it's creating a dual class system for the players where there's a minority of no more than 5,000 players who are able and capable of getting every single token they put out there with little effort, spending almost no coin. And then there's some people in between who maybe can get the FM tokens and maybe some of the raid tokens, but they don't get all the TLCs done and whatnot. And then there's the guys who barely get the FM tokens. And these are being hit really hard and giving up on the game because, honestly, for one ship, so they're only going to have their fleet done by the 3rd raid of the cycle, which means they only get 1 raid, 1 month of use for that fleet, and then it becomes a chore fleet. So is it worth it?
And you know, if they get it done on that 3rd month, that means they're going to turn around and they're going to have to do it all over again. So it feels like you're banging your head against a damn brick wall because you don't get to play any other aspect of the damn game.
And I'm assuming best case scenario here where there's no screw ups like we had with the monos and the icebreakers, where they're all of a sudden you're halfway. Let's say I'm a player without the token, right? So I'm on my 3rd ship now using the original tech, and all of a sudden here comes a better mortar on FM or a better rocket, and the guys with the tokens are already fitting to the best stuff, and I'm struggling to finish my fleet. You know, sorry guys, let's move on.
And just to continue on with that, I think that's something that, and I didn't realize this just because I've been doing the tokens for so long, it is such a long time to get to the tokens. I know we add everything after every raid, but I think we also need to move some stuff down and potentially weed some stuff down into the lower targets so that people are not stuck at 8-9 months just to get the tokens.
Yeah,
or
very good point.
stuff altogether.
Because usually you get 3 FM sessions to, if you're behind, the final 3 FMs before a raid is when you get caught up, right?
Yep.
So it's only 3 items per month, and I think there's probably 30 items in tier 5 right now, which you're right, it's, you know, if you're starting tier 5 just now, it's probably 9 months to catch up.
And it's not,
it's
and you don't have any choice in the matter. You know, it's not like you could say, okay, I'm going to grind this weekend, and this was something that somebody had suggested to me, and I think someone here talked about it too, was the ability to, instead of just doing 2 runs each week, give them the ability to, if they want to do 4, to try and help speed that process up a little bit.
Yeah. So, or here's the thing, right? And there have been discussions around that. It's just really reducing the number of things in FM, because a lot of those are just fillers. They're nice to have tech, but the tokens are a lot more important to have than those nice to have niche items. So just, you know, clean it up. I mean, bring it down from 30 items in the queue to 10 in such a way that a player could get caught up in 3 months, maybe, you know?
Yeah, I actually would like to see them start moving stuff down. Prize pool 1 should be the one that's just jack full of everything.
I agree.
You know?
Yep.
1 and 2 should be full of stuff, and then 4 and 5 keep them slim.
New stuff, new stuff after a month or 2, stop bumping them down. I mean, what the hell? You want people to participate. That's what I don't understand, is you want people to participate. They're not going to participate if they don't have the tools.
Yeah.
Simple.
Okie dokie. Right, so we move on to the next slide.
Yeah, man.
That fool's gone, by the way, permanently. I've had enough of him. Right. And thanks, guys, for staying on with us. Okay, I know we've got a good review here. 140 people studying, and we're at the 2-hour point. But I did say it was going to go on. So this one here, overall enjoyment factor. Interesting. It's okay. Yeah. It's, what is it? 2/5 no, 3/5 good, roughly around that. Would you say?
It's hard to enjoy the game if you don't have time to enjoy the game.
So this is the overall enjoyment factor, taking into all the pros and all the cons, that sort of stuff, and putting in the addictive points and the fact that, you know, your frustration points. So this was just a quick snapshot of those 323 people that put in their answers over a 48-hour period. This is the result, basically, that 140 people are still enjoying out of the, you know, and some are saying it's excellent. Okay, then I'm not really sure.
That
That's
looks like
interesting.
mediocrity to
The
me.
way I look at it is, like, I mean, with chores and everything else, like, I mean, nobody really likes doing chores, and that is 90% of your gameplay. You get 10% of the time to go do what you want to do, which is the enjoyment side for you. And then, I mean, if you don't have time to enjoy the game, like, say you come home from work, you spend a couple of hours collecting the base parts, you know, some uranium to keep your base in check, and then, you know, you've got to go to bed. You've got to get up next day for work. You know, where's your enjoyment?
Well, that's why I switched to Icebreakers, mate, from FM, because it's just another chore.
Exactly.
Just smashed, done. Thank you. Now let me get on and do
You
something
know,
else.
you know, the funny thing is my dynamic with the game. There are 2 weeks in the month when I hate the game, and 2 weeks in the month when I really like the game.
Same here.
The 2 weeks, and no, but there's a pattern. It's not random. The 2 weeks I hate the game is when I'm done with Raid and I have Battle Pirates fatigue. But then right after they hit us with TLCs, and then there's VXP weekend. At that point, I'm really hating the game. Then the whole fatigue from VXP weekend and Raid starts to wear off. And the last 2 weeks in the month is when I get my FM tokens and I get shit done quickly.
Yeah.
And I forget about VXP weekend and I forget about last Raid. Then I'm having fun.
Yes,
And then
agree.
Raid comes
100%. Like,
So
I have the exact
it's
same pattern as you. It's crazy.
That's my pattern. I hate it for 2 weeks. And I start liking it again for 2 weeks. And then when I'm really loving it, next Raid.
Okay, so what you want is you want a 2 week rent boy to do your jobs for you.
All right.
No, I would
we
actually
could get Pro, but I think Mark just banned him. So.
Pro's gone.
But you know, that is a really valid point, and it didn't just dawn on me because my head's been other places today. But holy cow, we've got all of these TLCs out there now, plus the VXP weekend, and that's right on top of the 6-day raid.
That's when the game feels like a job
Yes.
I have to do. You know what I mean? And I don't want to. I have a job already.
Didn't the last time they do this many TLCs in the VXP weekend, didn't like everybody flip a table?
Yep.
Yeah.
After
you
about
did.
the end of it,
But that
yes.
was
Yes,
because
but
a couple of new ones at the same time too, though.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Yeah, that's-
reruns and stuff for OTAC this time.
This I can live with.
Yeah, but again, I mean, honestly, I would really like if they gave a free weekend in between Raid and the XP weekend. I know they cram them together for monetary reasons. They want people spending the money, coining the ships for VXP weekend, so they hit us quick. But honestly, if we had a free weekend in between, it would be a lot less stressful.
Okay, right. So just to finish off then, because we have hit past the hour mark.
That's the second hour mark.
I can't believe I'm doing this. Wait till Hefe finds out. He's have kittens when he sees this. Okay. Yeah. So what we've got now is the second part. Okay, and it's just a snapshot of similar sort of things. Now these are they're not being filtered as in the content, but obviously these are ones that are sort of can go out in the public area and that sort of stuff. Okay, so these are some of the questions. So there was three gaps basically. Which were left over for you to go, well, this is what I think about the game at the moment, and this is the key area that I've got concerns with. So they haven't been filtered, they haven't been chopped, or they don't believe they've been chopped anyway. So I'll bring them up, and then Stu's going to basically go through each one, because Stu is in an alliance, okay, then, and I'm not. I don't believe, pretend. My days of that are over, and I stopped doing that when I finished the game about 4 years ago. I stopped for 6 months, and I've came back, and I've completely changed the way I play the game. So I'm not in one of those alliances anymore. You know, I used to run a 98-player alliance and that sort of stuff, and it was massive, and it was, you know, go smash everybody and all that sort of stuff. I just don't do that anymore. But Stu is in one of those alliances. I believe Ren is, and that's their game. They're at the top, you know, top 1%. So I choose not to take that path anymore. But it's interesting. So some of this stuff is of a level that I don't even play in anymore. So here we go. So this is one answer for one player. So go on, Stu, and then Andrew. I think he's got about 5 or 6 of these. So.
Okay. All right. Game issue number 1. Tech flood is nauseous. I think I said that right. I hate big words. Stop using them, guys, please. The current power creep of shut up, George. Of free or dead is ridiculous. If you have the perfect tech and the perfect setup, all is great. Anything else is barely useful, leaving mid to large players needing way too much seat time for raid. 300 million points just for the next raid fleet is pure. I like it.
Your poo, or pew? Yes, yes.
Shit. At 200 million, you can have a couple of boats, but not a fleet. It costs 80 million just to get the hull. That may very well be crap.
Think of Gridiron.
So you reference icebreakers.
Yeah, he's
So,
referencing
Stu,
that.
I have a question. Stu, I have a question. Did you write that one?
No, I didn't. But I read shit. And I was like, hey.
I want to know how
There's not enough swearing for this to be Stu.
Yeah, there's not. But game issue 2. I'd like to see left-right format of the raid tree turn into base or fleet paths with a separate tech grab spot for older tech and current tech.
Oh, I like that.
Ooh,
Use
yeah.
like armors.
Good point. Well done. I like
Okay.
that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go to game issue 3. The game needs to grow up. Brilliant. For instance, on the map card should display the whole sector or a larger area based upon how many alliance players are in the area. If one player can see a sub on the map, all alliance members should see it in their HUD. This would make PvP way more fun. Limit highlight tide seekers to an area that's maybe the current HUD size, but multiple alliance members share range, thermal, and sonar. Should have an even smaller range, but still be able to pick up on subs on the map.
You're giving me a headache.
Yeah, I'm giving myself a headache with this one.
Okay.
Ultimately, I'm afraid we are reaching the limit of Flash.
We've reaced
That
it already.
is a
but
valid point.
We have.
yeah, okay. Summarize that
we've
into
already-
Flash is almost over. So yeah, okay. Right, next one then, please, Andrew.
Did he pass out?
No.
You may have.
I was trying to find the right thing.
No.
Here we go.
Okay. Game issue 1 from this player, whoever it is.
Summarize
The
them.
raid, we don't have time to build the stuff for the next raid without spending a lot. We kind of covered that.
Yep.
As we
Yeah.
all know, there will be a flag ship in a TLC or raid. I think it needs to go back to the way it was. Pools, I'm presuming that's plus. If they made the raid easy but higher points, they would make more money. Some of the raid have been higher. It's very hard for me to read that. Have been high points but hard to do. And just 5 days, so they should look at the time and cost. I believe
already
that's
feeling-
what they're probably thinking.
It did say, don't worry about spelling and don't worry about anything else because it's not going to get seen by anybody. And now we've just put it on the video. But anyway,
I know, but it's not
That
because
poor
we're showing
soul.
them.
See, the thing is, it doesn't have the person's game name.
no, it's good.
Yeah, so thank God for that guy. In-game issue 2. I look at my alliance and lots of the small ones are finding it hard to keep up. We lost 2 members over this raid. If they don't coin, they can't keep up. So maybe more help for the small guys or the no coiner.
We try to keep our players in our alliance and we assist them.
I mean,
That's a
yeah,
buddy-buddy
I get it,
thing.
I get it, yeah.
But my alliance is not like your alliance, and my alliance, I look
No,
after my guys because they're
we have our
friends.
fair share of non-coiners and that. It happens. But yeah, anyway, so in-game issue 3, Alliance, there is a lot that Kicks I could do with the Alliance, but have not done any work on this side of the game for some time. What about letting peeps in and all giving their old ship builds? Oh, I see what he's getting
Yeah,
at.
giving
You
away the
have to
old
give
ship
your
build.
old ships to your ally, mate. Yeah,
Rather than
okay.
recycle them, give them to your lower levels. I'd love
Yeah,
to be able to do
no. I actually think that's quite smart, and I brought that point up several times myself.
Mhm.
So,
I'm against it. That's welfare.
oh, I know you're against it.
Well, you're saying warfare, not
Charity,
welfare.
get out.
Come on then, let's do a couple more then. We'll just do a
Okay.
couple more.
In-game issue 1, tech rollout. Before they start rolling out the tech the way they are doing it, I was actually starting to be able to build PvP holes so that I could start hitting bases. I was also starting to be able to build holes to actually defend my base so I wouldn't always be in a bubble. The first 3 months of this year, I spent it building ironclads and then cannoneers and then refitting said ironclads, which left me with no time to build anything else, which we covered. The first 3 months of the bollocks. Only time I have been able to build a base hitting hole or a defender hole have been when I could get the tokens for that said hole. Other than that, I haven't been able to, as my shipyard has no time. Yeah, so yeah, we pretty much beat that one to death several times. haven't we?
Okay, let's do one more.
Yes, true. Okay, I knocked my mic off my head. In-game issue 2, repair times, they are creeping up again to where it is taking more than 2 weeks per ship, and up to 3 weeks.
I think he
I
means
think
I
it's
think you need
build
build
times.
times. Yeah, I know. I'm
Yeah.
just thinking, wait, my ship takes 2 weeks to repair? I'm done. Rage quit.
That's Mark's Man of War.
That is the
pretty
manual.
much.
So that's
In my
where that
opinion,
one
no
came from.
ship should take more than 10 days for the build. I'm pretty sure Ren just said that. Ren, you wrote this. Come on, own up. But that's just me. Maybe offer tokens for all ships they release. Just a suggestion. Okay, that's not Ren. Never mind. Ren hates tokens.
No.
In-game issue 3. Point costs. The point costs for items in raids are getting the heck out of hand. Okay, nice choice of words. These days, you still have to grind the hell out of every damn raid. Even if you can do the elite targets for little damage, it needs to be looked at as soon as possible. I agree with that. I don't like sitting there getting 400 million points every raid. And I don't think it's optional either to do so, as some people say it is.
Well, for starters, I think they should cut 3 zeros at the end of all the points and all those huge numbers.
Yeah, exactly agree with you, mate.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Well, I mean, at
Americanism.
the end of the day, I mean, when we turn
It's
around
not gonna
and
make
say,
a difference.
"Okay, this raid, I need 450 million points." Most people are like, "No, that's optional. You don't need that," but you do need that. If you need to, if you're one of these players that's at the top of your game and you want to remain at the top of your game, you need 450 million points.
Yeah, my reference, and maybe you guys beat that bush to that, but allow me for just one minute. It's like the minimum that you would need to stay on top this raid was the Phoenix, the Talon, the Special. To get there for most of the raid, you needed to get the Justice, right? Which you want in your base defense. So that's 2 ships, 2 specials, 2 weapons. Then you needed 5, at least 4 of each limited armor for your new fleet. And that alone is already like 100 million points, just the armor, which is ridiculous, right? Then you needed agility system 4 for every new ship if you don't have them in stock. Let's assume you don't. So that alone is already close or over 300 million points.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's do one more then. Let's go to the next
Okay.
one. Andrew, if you want my mate. And then we'll call it a night.
Oh, that's too big. Make smaller. Thank you. Okay. That's what she said. Ha! Anyway. Yesterday, in-game, I was being hit by phantom mortars and missiles. In the A-sets, the mortars were coming out to land, dead turrets and the missile, but that's not too bad.
It's bad.
We covered that, yeah, okay.
I love reading these. These are awesome. Today, everything exploded.
That's what she said.
Stuff in there. Okay. That sums up the game. Done. Everything exploded. Okay, today everything exploded with still a couple of hours left in the raid. I was about to finish up my raid as many 84s as I could for the last 2 things I wanted. Oh, that's.
But everything
luck,
exploded. I like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it
think
did.
that's
All
in
the
reference
targets disappeared,
to
yes.
the reaping of the
That's
targets
bad
that
luck,
happened.
yeah.
Yeah, a little early.
Okay, so I have an issue about coining. As much as I've stopped due to 3 bad transactions on your behalf, I paid you. What? I got no gold only for me to ticket you to be told it went through. Anyways, my issue is I want to start coining again, but do not have a direct debit or Facebook cards. I was coining, be it minimum. Blah, 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 blah.
I can't even read that.
RSD.
So
We're
basically, he
not
wants to start
kickstarting
coining
it.
again, but he
Yeah,
can't.
We're not
Okay,
kickstarting.
well, I
I
mean,
don't have an answer to that. I can't help
Yeah.
him.
yeah, I mean, you'd have to go get a debit card or you go to a store and buy some Facebook cards. I don't
However,
really know
let's be
how they
honest.
can change that. Or is
I think Pro's English example there is better
Basically,
than
Kicks allowed a different app or a different payment process that they no longer accept.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I get it, but yeah, I mean, this might be related to Pro. This guy,
See,
I think it is Pro.
it might be Pro.
He'll never know though because he's banned. Anyway, right, and he's never coming back. Right, EO. Okay, you can watch the show afterwards. Good. Right. Thanks very much, everybody. Some good feedback points there, and we will have a good look at those. So there's 323 tickets at the moment, and we may actually do another one of those and branch out into some other areas and that sort of stuff, and maybe fine tune some of the. When we've looked at and audited the answers, we may focus in on some key areas and then ask again for some further details and that sort of stuff from our community. I'll just sign off by saying thank you for fixing the mortar issue, because they only responded to what you provided. Simple as that. You have fixed the problem yourselves. Now, that's the first time that has actually happened within a calendar week just because a community did something. So well done.
I'd like to say quickly as well, thank you to everyone that's come out to watch. Like, I noticed that we hit like 150 viewers or something tonight, and I mean, I don't know if we're doing this regularly, but it's the first time I've noticed it. So big thumbs up to everyone that comes out each and every week. You know, you're awesome. Thank you for the support.
Okay,
we love you.
Yeah, we love you. Andrew, thanks for the slides tonight, mate. They were excellent. Thank you very much for putting up that. Yet again, like I say, your webpage is nuts. It's brilliant, and it was a really good, instant sort of. I had a really sort of good moment, and then you came back and went, "Yep, I've done this. It's on the page. It's done. It's ready to go." And you did that in an hour. I don't know even how you do it, to be honest, but it just worked.
I was planning to go to bed, and then
I bugged you.
Screw it, I'll do this and then I'll go to bed.
I know. And then the morning you woke up and went, oh my God, look at all those. It's good. Anyway, Root, yeah, again, thanks for your raid overview. That was good. I enjoyed that.
I think the first 7 hours there was 110 posts.
Yeah. I wonder if be interested if they come in timelines, whether all the people that hated the raid and the show actually sort of like did it in the first sort of hour or two, and then it sort of got better as it went on, It's statistics is great things, and I know Rue loves them. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Like I said, that's it for tonight. That's probably the longest show I've ever intend to do, because that's epic. But
I'm not going to lie. If I known it was going to be this long, I probably would have just gone to bed.
I think Andrew's probably thinking the same thing. Yep. Thanks everybody in the chat for staying with us. Okay, and yeah, we timed a couple of people out because they probably just got frustrated. Yeah, I
kind of wish I get paid for doing this.
I'm pleased to say that it's almost already, ponder on this for 24 hours and then come back and see us again, obviously on the open mic on Saturday night, and then we can get your feedback and see your thoughts on the raid, because I am genuinely interested in what you thought. So all it is to say is good night.
Yeah, except 99s. 99s is not welcome.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone. Bye.